Hello. We are the Kiln. I am Alexander. I guess we got a follower. Thank you all, OT, for the follow. I am Gigawatt. I'm
Hello,
currently the host
you beauty!
here, joined with Aram 17Z and the Calibri Body, absolute legends. Here we're going to talk about
You what?
power systems in fiction that we think are pretty fucking cool.
You what?
There's your
God.
intro.
Thank you, I guess. Well, the intro for all of us.
And what?
What do you mean, and
Let-
what?
For the first set of 3x3 power systems we'll be going with the Calibri Body selection
That's
of
true.
9 power systems. Let's have a look-see at what kind of things he has chosen.
He's chosen weird shit.
And what? Wow. 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 Ah,
Are we doing the backwards S thing again?
yeah,
Look it up
yeah.
here.
I think that's the
Alright.
convention. I suppose I'll begin. So the first one, we'll get the first one out of the way because
No clue what that is.
this is the one that no one knows. So I don't actually know the specific name for it. I suppose the best one would be called what do you call it, Void Magic. And it's from the video game Dishonored. And basically how it works is this man god thing gives people power, and this power manifests in a variety of ways in the game. Depending on the person, they can end up developing different powers. For example, teleporting, possession, X-ray, blasts of wind, summoning rats and flies,
Rats.
causing bodies to disappear when they're killed, um, linking two people's physical state together, creating teleport things, etc. And I don't know. I think it's just a really cool power system, and I think the abilities that it uses fit very well with the theme of the world. You know, like I said before, with the summoning rats, the world of Dishonored's very gritty and grimy and dark. So something like that, and especially something that is linked to the void and this sort of this god that is worshipped by freaky cunts. I think it's just very interesting. It's the mood of that. But I won't linger on it too much since no one else here really knows about it.
No,
Which is something that I quite find interesting. And yeah. So
I didn't even know it had a power system.
yeah, yeah. The way the spells, I'll just say the way the spells are gotten is through runes that you find that are just sort of status effects. But yeah, it does have a power system.
So the next one then.
Akame ga Kill Teigu. I can't really talk much about this. There was not really much reason I put this on other than it's a cool. I'll be honest. I ran out of ideas, and I'm like, this is alright. This is kind of cool. The weapons are cool. I'll put them in.
So, like what? It was years ago that the king sanctioned people to slay beasts, and then another part of the world of I think another country is the one that actually made the weapons itself, based off my memory. Tegus come in all shapes and sizes. They could be handheld weapons, like an axe or a gun. They can be armor. They can be support items, and some are even more weirder, I think. Like Death's one.
This one's pretty sick.
This
If
one's
anything, I would just say
extract.
I like its versatility. But to be
Yeah,
honest,
the trump cards.
I just ran out of ideas, to be completely honest with you.
I think I find the trump card system interesting.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Also, although I'm not a big fan of mine, I love the gun. And
The
what
gun's
it
quite
does.
interesting.
The more she's in danger, the stronger her blasts become. I just love that
Love the
idea.
conditions. I love
Yeah.
conditions when it comes to power systems.
Yeah, true.
And like you can also have like living ones as well. So like the one I hate the most has like the dog. And you also have Susanoo, who
Yeah.
Right,
he's just the replacement for Bullard.
Literally.
Yeah.
But if I had to name one of my favorite, like as in my favorite Tegu, I actually don't know really. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. What's my favorite Taker?
Oh
Like-
no, probably
Like
Lubbock.
Akame's Tegu also has like its limits, and you can't like
Yeah.
cut yourself, otherwise you're screwed. So that's also partially interesting.
Yeah, Lubbock's I think is quite cool. Quite. There's a lot of things you could do with it, just with strings and rope, and it's smarter than just slash shoot. Yeah.
It was meant for more traps, and it was used very
Yeah.
wisely in the series.
Yeah.
It actually helped him last quite long in the series.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite Tegu, I think, is like the eye that Tatsumi wasn't able to use.
I can't remember what did that
Like
do?
the precog eye or whatever, or you can see through shit or whatever.
Right, okay. I have not watched that series in a long time.
It's been a while.
Of course, Incursio and the
Oh,
other
that-
ones.
Incursio's
Barrett's
pretty
also
cool.
really cool.
Incursio is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Incursio.
Like, I feel like a lot of like the normal weapons aren't as interesting in the series. Like one of them is literally just like an axe that kind of just comes back to you. Yeah.
Moving on
The
from
wall
Akame
dragon.
Gakure. Moving on, we've got the Green Lantern power system.
We do-
To be honest, this, like, as I've said to Ethan before, this is actually what made me want to read some Green Lantern, because the whole idea of emotions and these emotions representing sort of power sources in the universe and being able to be wielded by different groups, I just found really interesting and really fucking cool. And when I read it, I began to enjoy it even more, especially how different rings use their powers in different ways, like how the Yellow Lanterns don't really create whatever they want, they more create something that is a manifestation of their own fear, or how they instill fear into others, which is very interesting, because often something like that it shows you, it can show you a lot about a particular character just by what they make. And then the same with the Green Lanterns. But to sort of, for those who happen to not know, the way it works is there are basically emotional energies, and these groups make shit, these batteries, and then they make rings, and these rings can draw the power from the batteries, and they charge up their rings, and then they can do stuff with that energy. The Green Lanterns, I think can't they all make constructs? But
They can all make constructs, yeah.
they can all, yeah. But Green Lantern.
But there are
Green Lantern,
specialties between them
yeah.
as well, yeah.
They focus on constructs, so they can, out of willpower, they can make almost whatever they want, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whatever they can think of. And what's interesting is, especially how, like I said with the Yellow Lands, how different people can express that in different ways. So
I also find
John
it
Stewart, not Patrick Stewart, John Stewart.
yeah.
When he uses his Green Lantern power, he is very because he's an architect. Everything he creates is detailed and specific. There are actually moving parts. When he creates a gun, it's not just it looks like a gun and shoots stuff. It acts like an actual gun.
Also to add to the
Meanwhile-
gun one, he was like a marine or whatever
Yeah.
in the army as well. So he has the military experience to know how guns work.
And then with Kyle, he's generally able
He's an
to
artist.
be more abstract. He can change his constructs on the time, all the time, on the fly. And then Guy Gardner can just, I think the way they explain his power is he just, whenever he lets his willpower go, he just lets everything go at once. He's much more,
All out.
all out brute force sort of, which
And Hal reserves himself a bit more.
Mm.
And then you also have Alan Scott, who doesn't exactly have a proper power ring. It's more like it's kind of like a buggy power ring. That is why, like, when he shoots out energy blasts, they come out a lot more corrupt and flamey.
And and I like how certain other ones affect the mind, and how, depending on their emotion, they sort of have different sort of, I want to say gimmicks,
Yeah.
in the sense that you have rage. If you have a rage ring and then you take it off, you're pretty much fucked.
You can't take off the rage ring.
Yeah.
You will die.
Yeah, exactly. You take it off, you're dead. And then with greed, it's like there's only one person that has it because he doesn't want anyone else to have it. And whenever he charges up, 8,000 fucking %.
Yeah, because it's just him.
Yeah,
With a whole fucking power battery to himself.
exactly. And that's very interesting in how it's handled, because it's not just a different color; it's the actual emotion itself.
Or even how like different lantern rings can affect each other. Like green struggles to fight
Yeah.
against the fear, or like the hope powers up Green Lantern's rings
Mm.
to an insane extent. It's like
And I
Yeah.
think that's very, very interesting.
even like the way
Very-
compassion is used, it's a lot more tribal.
I haven't read much when it comes to the compassion. That's the one I probably know of the least.
And of course,
Not
like you have the
probably.
other ones like death, which is literally you can
That's
resurrect
true.
the death,
That's cool. Yeah.
and you
The-
have
the-
life, which has the life equation.
And I sort of like how the White Lantern power just sort of acts on its own a little bit.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
sort of it's not really like the others, which I think
And you need like all the power rings just to create the White Lantern ring,
Yeah.
minus the
Yeah.
death one.
yeah. But yeah, it's a very interesting power system, and I quite enjoy seeing it used on the page. Let's say on screen, but the type when they do that, it tends to we don't talk about that movie.
I mean, the visuals for the movie was alright.
Oh yeah, and I think it's
Even on screen, like the animated series was
Yeah,
really good as well.
Taika Waititi was in the movie.
he wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Forget about that. When I rewatched it, I'm like, yes, hello. It's I go up, don't I? Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, up. Yeah.
Little
Okay.
Witch.
So, Little Witch.
That's a little witch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Little Witch. I got that straight from the wiki.
yeah, fair enough.
I didn't know I didn't know what that was.
So
Do you know
Little,
what the next one is?
I know what the next one is.
Of course you do.
Oh, bitch.
Little Witch, I sort of wanted to talk about, primarily because of something it does, which Bleach also does. So I'm going to mention that a little bit, but it's the fact that they understand that science can be applied to a magic system, which I think a lot of the time universes tend to separate science and the supernatural, or science and these power systems and these energies, when in reality you don't actually have to. You can combine them. It's why I like when you see Croy come in with all her drones and her iPads and this, and they work. They're able to manipulate the magic system, and they're able to calculate it and measure it and understand it to a greater degree, that lets you do things that normally without it you couldn't do, because you understand it more. The same with Bleach. It's why I quite respect Mayuri, because he actually like studies it. He's like, okay, this is all the shit. This is how it works. This is what it does, and now I can do this cool stuff with it because I understand how it works. And like, same with Kisuke, how they can now invent items and objects that use this power system because now they understand it, and they understand that, well, just because it's supernatural in nature doesn't mean there isn't some logic behind it. Doesn't mean there's nothing you can't understand and manipulate in a controlled environment, which I think, which is something I tip my hat off to. But as in terms of the rest of the power system, it's all right. It's quite enjoyable. But mainly what I like about it is definitely the adaptation to science.
I think
And I guess Naruto does the same thing, but
I just more forget about Little Witches even having a power system, because I always feel like it's just so base.
I mean, they
It's
have
been so
to have
long
a
since
power
I've seen
system.
it. I didn't even know.
They have to have a power system. They're fucking
Obviously,
fucking
but like,
wizards, witches, and shit, magic. But
Yeah, but it's like I don't really think about the power system in mashing.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily something that's overly complex. I just like how they can apply technology to it and science to it, and that's something that I quite appreciate. Any other comments from anyone else on Little Witch?
The big chicken.
Yes.
He's
All I'm
good.
thinking is I need to rewatch The Witch.
Same actually.
You
Same.
should also rewatch the next one.
No,
What?
I've seen enough.
You should rewatch the next one, yes. And speaking of the next one, we have here astronomy and boobology.
I don't think that's the actual name of the power system.
I
It's
don't.
more just learning about it.
Yeah,
It's the science of it.
I couldn't
Yeah.
think of whatever the power system would actually be called, so I'm just like, wow, it's a study of the stuff you can do with it. And yeah, so basically, these women are able to make like kamehamehas, but with their ass.
And tits.
And yeah, and I think
I just love how
uh,
Caleb's voice has just changed.
it's just really creative. I mean, let's be honest here, right? I like they took something that's
For a series
sort of
like
weird.
for a series like Keijo, like there are others out there that have like the sports genre that have like partial superpowers.
Mm.
But it's like you don't really need an explanation for why they have it. It's just a
No.
part of it, and it's very enjoyable. And I like
I
how
like-
like little bits are incorporated into the different types of like ring fighters you are. Like an in fighter has different abilities from an out fighter.
And in all seriousness, again, because you know the way they play the sport is unusual. It's not like a regular sport. It's nothing that we have, and it's and in real
W
life.
acceleration.
It's literally it's almost impossible to play it normally. But in
Oh,
this
right.
world, they're able to adapt. They're able to adapt these weird sort of mechanics and make powers around them that feel creative. I don't know how else to put it in any other way. It's just creative. You know, the Gate of Boodylon, what's it called back in Buck Cannon, K acceleration. That's just they're just cool. They're really
The
smart.
marshmallow butt. Absorbing impact.
The Titty Samurai. That's cool. That is
The
That's
judo
all.
move with her tit.
the one even when she knocks out. Like, I mean, here's another thing. They apply a bit of science to it. When Hanabi does that move where she hits the jaw in the first episode, she hits the jaw in such a way that it shakes the brain and knocks you out.
That's right.
Which is
Alex,
which is
let's try it.
A bit of thought has
No.
been put into a power system that is inevitably a joke. Like, it's a joke. It's just for laughs, but a little bit of thought's been put into it, which is a pleasant surprise in something that really shouldn't give too much of a shit about itself. But it's interesting. It's not overly complicated, and it doesn't explain how the fuck this woman summons asses from thin air.
Doesn't
but-
need to.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't need to, but it still makes the ability satisfying in the sense that they're interesting to watch and interesting to be put into place, and especially with how Shonen does it in general. An ability is used strategically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've perhaps tried to rationalize this choice.
Well, it's very important.
It's just
You talk more about Keijo's power system than the Kamiya kills.
Yeah.
Now, because I've watched Keijo more. So,
More than twice.
Yes.
when I watched it once all the way through, and then I watched like the first few episodes multiple times, but I haven't gone through all the way a second time. That has owned that only two series on this has that honor. and that being Tawaru and Naruto. But even then, different Tawaru seasons, I've not seen all the way. Hunter x Hunter sort of, but I haven't gone 100% through Hunter x Hunter again. Anyway,
Toaru.
yeah, Tawaru. Now, this is focusing more on the science side, as the magic side. It's cool, but
Science.
it's.
Can we just like briefly just mention magic, like, because like there are definitely a gap between the two that I find very weird. Like how some people can, if you're of an Esper, you can't be a magician.
Yeah.
If you're a magician, you can't be a thing. And magic is more rooted in like religion and that kind of area. And I find it very fascinating how they actually use magic in the world, kind of. How
I think
they can't
it's
really...
I think the way I could be wrong about this, but I think the way they chop it up in the series is it's more so based off of perspective.
Yeah.
And that they're I think they're actually very similar in what they can do, but it's just based off of the mindset the person is in when they use it.
It's also
Because in
like
the
what
world-
people would recognize as stuff, because in the world, like,
Yeah.
not, from what we say, it's like magic is more of the unknown one,
Yeah.
whereas like they built a goddamn whole entire city based off espers.
But I think the reason I put Tawaru Science is because I think the abilities are very smart. They often not necessarily they use things that are scientific, but they generally think about the abilities that they give people and think of how they can be used in other ways. They understand the implications of being able to control lightning, such as when Misaka is able to reroute her nervous system. And when she says in theory she could communicate with other lightning users through electricity, but she can't in the city because there's just too much electrical noise.
And
That's something that's very interesting because there's thought being put into the power, not just lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
even when
No,
she
there's
fries
more to
the
it.
city's electrical grid.
Yeah. When Mugino is firing her her ability, which is just accelerate. I think it's like accelerated electrons.
Yeah.
And basically, every time she fires it, Misaka can tell where it's going to be fired before it actually does something. She can tell because their abilities are they almost use the same forces, the same particles, just in different ways. And it's and you take the one of the more powerful ones, Accelerator, his ability to control vectors. It doesn't necessarily from face value seem powerful, but what makes it powerful is the implications of being able to
The
control vectors.
implications, you say?
Anything that can move, anything that can move, he can change that movement. A projectile.
What's the limit to that?
fist, there wasn't.
That's
So
why he's number one.
Could he
That's
fuck
why
up
he was
the
number one.
rotation of the Earth?
Except dickhead, Toma. That's why it was so powerful because what can you do?
Toma.
The only things that you could do is attacks that do not require movement. For example, you could technically rob the area of air and suffocate him. Technically. But you have to go do all that because the power isn't powerful because he has over 9,000 fucking ki. No.
It's smart.
It's because there's stuff it can do. It's a
And isn't
tricky...
number two like dark matter or some shit?
Yeah, that's a weird one. I'll have to look more into that at some point.
And then
When I
you
start
have
reading
the other
Dwyer
one,
again, but
the blonde one.
that controls people. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have like teleporter abilities, and I liked how the fight between the two teleporters were very different, and it was such an interesting fight. And then Accelerator came and just went, tap the floor. Still one of my favorite scenes.
And then there's that,
Just got wrecked.
and there's one ability. This girl, I don't think she has a name. She has this ability called like heart distance or something like that. And what she can do is she can make it so that you see her as someone else, as someone you like care about. even though you know that they're not it, your sort of, I suppose, instincts or your subconscious believes that you're looking at the person you love.
Mm.
And she says that it's sort of a double-edged sword because, say, if you do that to someone, if their personality warrants that being betrayed means they won't do anything, then that's all good. But if being betrayed causes them to then lash out, then it could actually end up not working, or perhaps it could even be worse because now you're introducing, anger. But
Right.
I just appreciate how their powers, the abilities they give people are very intelligently done, and the implications of the abilities are very nicely done, and the things you can do with that. Which yeah, I think yeah, I quite like how they do that. I think many, and it's something I'll get onto with Naruto. Just a little complaint I'll have with that power system is that sometimes you have an ability, but you can't use the quote unquote implications, which I suppose I'll get onto now. Um,
Does Alex want
We
to
could
say anything
transition.
about the power system of Toaru?
yeah,
It's worried. I love. I don't know what else I'd say that
Because
you
I
would say,
mentioned
but I like
magic
the
a bit and other characters.
Well, I like the magic is. So like the science is obviously based on what we know as science. When
Yeah.
characters use electricity and they've got magnetism, they understand what's happening around them. You're way smarter than me. I can't say that shit. But I love that when it comes to the magic side of the series, it focuses a lot on history.
Mm.
They take
mm,
actual real world people and they actually use what appears in history as a basis for their magic, and it doesn't just come out of nowhere. So even then, it has some sort of internal logic as well.
that's
And I
true.
just wanted to give some light to the magic, the actual magic in the magic system of Tuaro as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm not smart enough to talk more.
Alright. Moving up to
Naruto.
Naruto Chakra.
Naruto Uzuma.
This
Um,
is like the just the it's the one that's like I feel like is the easiest to understand,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like if you're gonna talk to someone about power system, Naruto is just so easy to get into.
Mm. What I like
So
about
basic.
Naruto, is that it on one it incorporates quote unquote spell casting and quote unquote bending quite well. In the sense that when I
Well, they're the same thing.
the difference between the difference between spell casting and bending is bending are more referred to as something where you control the element directly, control something directly. You are able to manipulate its shape, where it moves, all that.
Ninjutsu,
Spell casting is you do a specific thing and it casts a specific action.
typically
So
Genjutsu.
taking in like fireball jutsu. You're not controlling the fire directly. You're doing these hand signs, and then that creates a specific thing. The fireball cannot become fucking a gun or a sword, right? It's a fireball when you do those particular actions. Meanwhile, bending is more like the Rasengan, where you're not doing any actions. You are just taking your chakra and manipulating it and molding it into a particular form and moving it however you want.
Granted, if you're good enough and trained to a certain degree, you don't even need hand signs to do a
No, that's true. That's
thing.
true. But I like
My
how
main man, Toby Brahma.
I like how there's both the freedom of bending, but also the intricacies of spellcasting,
There's
as
also a
well
whole lot more.
as mm, mm,
Like my
and
favorite aspect of the chakra system is Sage Mode. How it takes
yeah,
in a third different bit, and it's the actual world's energy, and you're
yeah,
using the nature around you, and how you
mm,
have to get nature energy and train for nature energy, which is incredibly hard to do. That I love the whole way it's used as well. Just how like it enhances all your senses because you are taking in the nature that around you, and you're more connected with the world. And because you're more connected and everything kind of partially has chakra in it, you're stronger.
mm. And I like that it has. So I came to this realization the other day, and I didn't really know how to exactly put it because I don't know a word that would describe it. But the best way I can describe it is when I was watching Naruto and when I was learning about the power system within it. there was a sense of, I suppose, mystery in terms of I always wanted to know what this power did, or what was this power. Oh, look at this. This is flashy. What's this eye do? What's this do?
Mm.
And it was always not. It's not exactly mystery, but it's. I can't describe the feeling, but it sort of just gave that because it seems, again with the bending, how the bending's more freedom and you can just control the raw energies, but the spell casting more focuses on particular abilities and particular things given by even just your blood, like with the your natural nature release, or your Keka Genkai, or your Dojutsu, or even your clan powers. It's all very interesting because it's not just something Naruto can't just sort of create a shadow. He can't just create a fucking Sharingan. It's not something he can do. It's more restrictive. It requires things. He can't just manipulate the forces of chakra to do whatever he wants, which I think adds a bit more interestingness to it. It makes
Interestingness to it.
That's a word.
I don't exactly know how to explain it, but just I like. I suppose I like the restrictions. I like how there is stuff that you seemingly can't do. There's stuff you can't do, but then again, there is enough room to be able to have a lot of expression within that power system. There is enough room to have each individual person have unique jutsu to some degree.
Yeah, you can create your own jutsu.
Exactly. But then again, there's still that thing of, well, you can't do everything with that. It's not like other power systems we have on this list where you can literally do whatever you want with it. But there's still that sort of there's sort of that mold, that sort of how do I put it? System. There's a system. There's a system about it.
I like how it partially incorporates things like I like how it connects things with a lot of other power systems, but refines it in a way. Like how a lot of power systems have like you're born with something. In this, it would be your innate chakra nature. Everyone has one, and they're born with it. Typically, it does seem like an evolutionary trait from families. And then you have
certain bloodlines that have more or less chakra, certain innates.
Like all the Uchiha have the fire release because of their fire spirits, and a lot of Senju have water or earth style for some reason.
Yeah. And I think isn't Sarutobi fire?
Sarutobi's fire, yeah.
Which I think is another interesting thing. It's almost like different clans and different classes. Which they are just they are
like a
different
lot
classes.
of the hidden Shinobi are water based as well.
Bro,
Really?
Like if they made a proper RPG about Naruto, it would be so good because you have all these different choices, all these different classes to.
Yeah, you can really go from anywhere. You can learn whatever you want.
It's like that mod.
It's why I would find it so fascinating just to learn more about sealing jutsus and how you could use sealing jutsus.
There's just so
many. I feel like there's a greater application for that than just what we're shown.
And there's so many aspects. You know what I mean? Like so many power systems.
Even like
either are so broad that you don't have a group, or they're so specific that it's just one thing.
I think
but with chakra, you have genjutsu, you have ninjutsu, you have taijutsu, you have kenjutsu, shuriken jutsu, you have sealing jutsus, you have the forbidden techniques, you have dojutsu, you have all these different shit, you have all these different categories and all these different things that it's very expansive, and I quite enjoy that.
I also like the whole Keke Genkai aspect to things, and once we got the Keke Tota, the Keke Tota's mad, which is 3 chakra releases at once. It's already hard for anyone just to know one. Most Jonin know basically 2 usually for Jonin, and I love how it sets up its world where even those who aren't very good at chakra or that they don't have a lot of chakra, there's still a chance for them to become someone. So like Rock Lee and Might Guy
Taijutsu
focus heavily on Taijutsu, and it's so fascinating. And it does create like this whole different aspect to the world where it's like some countries more focused on Kenjutsu, like the Hidden Mist Village, like all their shinobi have fucking swords.
and especially fucking the hidden sword,
The
hidden iron. No, fuck, I can't
the
remember.
hidden leaf shinobi are more akin to sensory because of all the clans that they have. Also,
Yeah,
because we also know the most about them, we get a lot of hidden techniques like the shadow techniques that the Nara clan uses, which I believe when I was looking at it is a hidden technique in Naruto that only one clan can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they got a lot of
Nice.
intel gathering
Yeah.
because you got Shadow Clone Jutsu invented there, and that was dedicated to
The
intel
teleportation
gathering.
jutsu is also right there.
Oh yeah, true.
Which is interesting because like
Okay.
other things like we saw with the hidden cloud shinobi who focused a lot more on power and strength. They had a lot more items, specialist items. Like they had a bunch of items from the Sage of Six Path himself. Or the hidden stone had a lot more. I don't know.
Hidden Stone didn't get a lot of time.
They didn't get a lot of time, but like they have a lot more. You can just tell that they have a lot of battle strength and destructive capabilities.
I suppose their jutsus would have been more, lightning and obviously not everyone has this, but they have the particle style in their arsenals, so that begs the question: what other unique jutsu they might have that?
The bloody granddaughter of the bitch has a Keke Genkai.
She does too.
Yeah. And even the Hidden Sand, also another one that focuses a bit on sensory style. But also, because of the location it's in, it's probably one of the hardest ones to get to. Minus the mist. I would say the mist is the hardest to get to.
Yeah.
If you're not trained to go with the mist. And then you have all these like other smaller villages and smaller clans that even have their own little things in different smaller countries. And then like adding to that, it's like the Rain Village is where the Katsuki was created. And I just love how, all this idea about how like each one affects things, or even like the Sound Village that gets created, and what it focuses on there with ninja tools as well, advancing the technology of the world itself. Especially when you move into Boruto, like you can see a heavy amount of technological development just in Boruto alone, which isn't my favorite thing, but still, like there are these technologies, like moving from Naruto to Shippuden. Like in the first arc of Shippuden, we finally see like what is it, like earbuds to talk to other teammates on a mission. That was cool.
That was weird to see. That was because like you think this is all this like old shit, and then there's earbuds. I'm thinking,
because
okay, yeah, I know you have technology, but like I just that you just don't see it.
Yeah, because usually like someone from the
so
Yamanaka clan
they
would do that, or some sort of some sort of sensory shinobi, or that would do that. But obviously, you don't need it.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating how it could just build upon small things and create something so expansive. Even just the opening of the 8 gates, like that's just a part of taijutsu that still connects with your chakra in the end.
It is, yeah.
Because chakra is essentially life force.
The only thing I'll sort of take a point off, and it's sort of kind of what I was mentioning before, when I was talking about Tuaru, and as I segued in, is that some abilities I felt were a bit weird. Like with the magnetic release, I felt it was weird because
it doesn't use lightning.
Because I would have assumed lightning could do that anyway. Because it's electricity. Just sort of things like that I sort of felt were a bit weird.
But it's also like how they control. It's not like they control lightning.
But still, overall, the power system's very good. Does anyone else have any comments on it, or?
Not particularly.
Should I move on to which?
I do want to say that I'm glad that, especially near the end with Mike Guy, that all these other you don't just have to have strong jutsus, but you can, even taijutsu and genjutsu are very viable in their own right. Yeah. So much so that the only other person that was able to keep up with Madara back at that point was the strongest taijutsu user.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the series doesn't just say like because Rock Lee was didn't have much spotlight after Naruto, right?
No.
And then it was kind of seen like all these jutsus, all these magic fucking powers. They're way stronger than Rock Lee could ever be.
Yeah.
But my guys showed, hang on a fucking sec.
Yeah.
It's still viable as fuck.
It's not something to underestimate.
Yep.
Even at the end
That
of
was
the day, like
clear to Madara.
think just about how the real final battle of Naruto ended. It was a fist fight because they'd both run out of chakra. It is incredibly vital. You need taijutsu in this world. I think
Needs
the
to
whole
have
mind
ice.
body thing that we learn in the Chunin exams becomes incredibly important because you utilize both mind and body to basically create chakra and make the chakra connections. Yeah, whatever. We can move on.
Anyway, if that's it, then Witchery time. So I think this is probably the most
Minecraft.
unique of all of these because not just is it from a game, but it's also a fucking mod of all things. But the reason I really want to include it as orthodox as it is just how it handles magic. And I think the way it handles magic is perhaps the best, in my opinion, the best way magic can be handled. And
You're
if
a
you
fucking witch.
so, what it, the I'm trying to figure out how to actually explain how the magic system works because it's so the magic system. There's so many things you can do that there's almost not a central idea. But I suppose the best way to put it is it's very resource intensive, and I suppose such a system does rely heavily off of Minecraft's mechanics of resource gathering. But what I will say is what's interesting is the way that these resources play a role in the magic of witchery. To explain it a bit better, I would take another mod like Formcraft, right? In Formcraft, you get a bench, you research shit, and then maybe you can research wands. You make a wand, make the little twiddle bit, you put it on your wand, and you start shooting fire, right? It's pretty simple. You just research the wand and make the wand, and then that's it. Meanwhile, in witchery, something like that isn't as simple. You can't exactly just make something and start shooting fireballs. No, there's a lot more you have to do. You have to get ingredients. You need to brew potions. You need to distill stuff. You need to get fumes by burning fucking wood and saplings. You need to then infuse other things. You need to infuse yourself. You need to kill an ant. You need to do all these things just to get something that isn't even that viable in combat to begin with. The wand you still need to do gestures. You have to shape. You have to move the wand in specific ways just to get it to do the spell you want. But what makes this very interesting is that it's not meant to be a magic system where it's just extend my hands out and shoot lightning and do these really powerful spells that damage. You know, many like in games especially, magic is always handled in such a similar way to other classes, right? It might look different, all right. It might be at a range. It might be able to hit sometimes, but it does the exact same thing. It just damages. It just does a bit of damage, but it just looks like magic. So that's what makes it different. Meanwhile, with witchery, it doesn't do that. It doesn't say, right, well, you're going to get this magic spell that you can shoot 10 fireballs at people. No, that's not how witchery does its magic. Its magic is slower. It requires more from you. It requires time to prepare. But when you actually then use the magic and when you actually do the spell, the effects are something that no other system could do. The fact that you can make someone blind and slow no matter where they are, the fact that you can track someone no matter where they are, you can teleport someone to you no matter where they are, by doing this entire this process that at the end, when you actually finish it, it feels satisfying to have accomplished that. It takes a slower approach to magic, which I just think is I think is how magic should be handled. It's not something that it's not like a sword. It's not something that you just cast and it does damage or it does something. No, there's a bit more to it. You got to do all this preparation, and when you do it, the effects are quite complex. They might do different things, and it may not be as straightforward. So that's that's the best way I could put
Broom go
witchery.
fast.
Oh, bro, you take the broom, right? You take the broom. To make the broom, okay, you need to actually make the broom, which I don't think is actually that hard to make the actual broom itself. But then you need to get the
Clean.
flying ointment. I can't remember the recipe, but it requires shit. You've actually got to get shit. You got to brew it, get the flying ointment. Okay, but then if you want to fly well, okay, well you need an owl. Fuck, how the hell do you get an owl? Because they don't exist. So you then have to make this fucking plant. You got to get this plant to catch some fucking to catch a bat. Then you've got to turn these bats into owls. Then you got to tame the owl. Then you got to do another ritual to bind the owl to yourself. And then when it does that, there are other effects more than just I can fly better on the broom. It's something like that where it's not just some skill system makes you fly faster. No, there's a bit more to it. A bit more. There's trade-offs. I mean, you could do the owl, but then you miss out on the effects of the cat and the toad, which I think is Again, I think the way it handles it like that, the slower approach, but the harder hitting and I suppose more magic-y trickery part of it, I just think is excellent. And to this day, it remains my favorite mod of all time simply because of what it accomplishes and how it accomplishes that, and how it's always so interesting to play. Always very fun. So yeah, that's witchery. Does anyone else
Nah.
have
I haven't
comments?
played it.
No. Okay. Well, I suppose we move on to one that we all do know.
We all praise highly.
Well,
that
everyone
is-
plays as this one higher. Like,
Yeah.
if this isn't number one on Power Systems list, then you're just stupid.
Then you're a JoJo's fan.
Yeah.
So this is Hunter x Hunter Nen. So, for those who may not know at all what Hunter x Hunter Nen is, how do I explain
Fix that immediately.
It's like
It's like
in a
chakra
way it's
at
like
the beginning,
like chakra.
where it is like life
where it's
energy.
aura.
There are nodes in
Yeah.
the body and crap.
Yeah. It's an aura, and what I like about Nen is there's sort of two parts to it, in the sense that there's the first part where it's just the basic control of it, like basic chakra. It's the basic controlling of your aura. Being
Ten
able to
Zetsu Ren
control-
Hatsu.
and then all the other fucking ones. Like you can focus your aura into a specific point. You can hide your aura. You can gather aura. You can make the aura actually lash out and do shit, which then leads on to all the different abilities and the different archetypes. This aura, depending on the person, allows you to do certain things. For some people, it allows them to make themselves stronger or objects stronger. Others, it can let you summon stuff, like summon objects that may have various powers, may not. You can manipulate objects from afar. You can shoot things from your body. You can change the sort of way your aura reacts and how it's formed. Like you could change it into lightning or gum. And there's also specialist, which doesn't. You could do whatever else.
I
It
like
doesn't
how he
really-
explained them all, but he never actually said any of their names. Enhancer, Transmutation,
Yeah.
Conjuration, Emission, Manipulation, and
names.
Specialist.
Yeah, those are them. And then every single person is born with a particular affinity. So, if you're born an enhancer type,
Yeah.
you're better at learning enhancer skills. and
Isn't
better
that
at
right,
learning
Alex?
enhancer type.
You're an enhancer.
However,
Sure.
you are able to learn you are able to learn other abilities, but different abilities are easier to learn depending on where
Where they
you
are
are
on
on
the
the chart. I mean, on the 3x3 right now, as you can see, the enhancer is the one at the top, and I think manipulator's on the right, and emitter's on the left. So it's easier for you to learn. If you're an enhancer, it's easier to learn emitter and transmuter, and harder for you to learn summoner and manipulator, but you can still sort of
And
do it.
essentially non-existent for Specialist.
Yeah, and you
Well,
cannot learn.
if you're next to Specialist anyway, it's already like just
if you're
non-existent.
if you're next to specialist, you
Yeah.
can't learn the effects, but apparently you can become.
Yeah.
I think you can become a specialist later on, but you
Yeah.
can't learn the abilities of a specialist. You can't learn
So
another.
what you learn
you
at
can
birth, what you get at birth, is like
you can
it
copy
doesn't
and,
define your abilities.
as an
People can
enhancer,
be
you can
born
copy.
as specialists, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can
But the
be
thing-
born as specialists, but like other ones like conjurers and manipulators have the potential to later in life, when their ability is stronger, become specialists.
Or like an enhancer can learn. If an enhancer sees another enhancer's ability, they can copy that. They can say, "I can
Essentially,
do
yeah.
that," because it's easy. But a specialist, they can't. No one can look at a specialist and copy their ability. Except, you know.
That is your ability.
I mean, he did like literally. That was what the arc was about. Him copying
Yeah,
another
yeah,
specialist
yeah,
ability,
yeah.
which was
Another-
Neon's ability.
But other. If you're not a specialist, you can't copy a specialist ability.
Yeah.
That's the sort of idea, and it's harder for you to copy abilities further away from what you're affinity to. Anyway, that's us explaining what the thing does, but why it's good. I think
It's a lot like Naruto. And there's a lot of free reign, and it's based on who you are.
but even more so than Naruto, because
Based on
Naruto still
what
has
you
those.
want, what you need,
Yeah.
what you want to accomplish, and what you're
Hunter-
willing to give up, and what you're willing to lose.
Hunter x Hunter gives you a lot of free range as to what you want to do. You can pretty much mimic any ability in fiction to Hunter x Hunter Nen. There's that much freedom. It's why I think Togashi set himself up really well, because if he wants to create a character with an ability he has in mind, he doesn't really have to do that much thinking. He just has to think, well, okay, it does this, so it's probably a summoner, or it's probably a manipulator. And then maybe let's add a restriction to make it a bit fairer, which is what a lot of people do for powers anyway. Give them restrictions so they're not overpowered, so they fit within the world, and so people can actually have a chance to beat them. So it's very good in the sense that, yeah, it allows you to have such a wide variety of abilities within the world, a wide variety of characters, and it allows you to make every single character feel unique and have a unique ability. Be it shitter or worse than the next character, it's still rather unique. Sometimes it's not, but
But like it also,
Sometimes it is.
depending on the power of the technique, right? If you have an incredibly strong technique, you need a really powerful, the really motivating condition, right?
Yeah.
Like I'll die if I fucking lift my pinky up or something, right? Whatever. But there are also characters like Hisoka who have a rather rudimentary ability with bungee gun, and it's not the way that it's powerful.
Wait.
It's not innately powerful. It's more
Yeah.
that he uses it spectacularly,
Wait,
and there's not nearly as much drawback when he uses it.
does that have both the properties of rubber and
Okay.
gum?
Okay, yeah.
But it's, yeah, again, like you said, there's many abilities, there's many ways you can use it. So it's best of it. It's not like you can't change your ability. They do.
And
Fucking
even
that cheetah cunt, right? He had an ability. He fucked up. So he's like, fuck, I better get a new one that actually fits me.
Yep.
Because he was an idiot. But I like how it shows the issue with abilities may not necessarily be the ability itself. It just might be what you do and how you play. Your play style, lack of a better word,
Green
does
Island.
not support it. Oh, Creed Island.
Well, that's where we really learnt and developed this kind of ability.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see how they play out. But one thing that it does retain is it's not just all about these different powers. Sometimes it can be as simple as just putting your aura around your fist, or putting your aura around something, or just hiding, or putting the
Big
aura
man.
in your
Big man.
eyes, so you can see other aura.
Yeah, isn't that
Which
10?
You're not just innately good at
Sure.
this stuff. You need to
No, it's
learn.
pure,
to-
isn't it? Hang on.
Oh yeah, it's good. Sorry,
Yeah. And then
I think it's part of 10.
yeah.
Because 10 is I think the
Hang
mind
on.
bit, focusing on your mind.
Apparently it's more to do with Ren, because you're more concentrating aura at
Intensify
your
over.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not encasing anything.
Yeah.
And then it leads to, according to this code, which is, yeah, the same thing.
But also, I love that
That's
you go to what's it, Heaven's Arena, right? And
Yeah.
then Wing's like, "This is Nen." And we're like, "Okay, we understand everything." And then every single arc, every single episode or chapter, Togashi can introduce something new, and we'd be like, "What the fuck? How do you think of that?" But that also makes 100% complete sense to us. He
yeah.
can add so many different elements. I was impressed by something in the manga that he introduced, but I can't tell you because I genuinely forgot. Not because I can't spoil you. I forgot what it was, but I just remember being incredibly impressed.
Do you know which ability it was, or what type of ability it was?
No, it was mostly the. You know how there's like the abilities that all these people in on that ship
Yeah.
kind of got? Yeah, that and how that was explained.
Uh,
I can't think of exactly what it is, and it's good because I won't talk about it anyway.
yeah.
But once he introduced that concept, I was like, "Fuck me, you can do that as well."
Honestly, in the
And it
manga, I was
fits
more impressed
perfectly.
when we got a little bit more of Gin and seeing how
Yeah,
he
we
used
actually got to
Nen,
learn how
which he
used it,
wasn't
yeah.
using any Nen ability whatsoever. He was just using basic Nen, and it was like, "Fuck, you can do that."
But
Yeah,
then
bro. And
even in
it just clicks, it just works.
Yeah, it
even
just
in the
works.
even in the show when he uses Nen to make Greed Island,
Yeah.
like fuck, like that entire thing.
Again,
Like that,
mixing with technology as well.
exactly. And him making the box that
Doesn't matter.
responded to Nen and all that and all this shit. That's cool. It's cool. It allows you to do so much. It allows you to be so creative with it. And then yeah. But there's still enough restrictions on it so that you can't do anything that's like, again, omnipotent. Like you can't
No.
just make a sword that kills everyone. No, there's a bit to
You
it.
can't become God.
But you could. But if you said that this sword can only ever kill one person, but if it gets anywhere near them, they will die, then that's probably alright because it's a restriction.
Yeah.
It's something you've put onto it, which I think is
But I think
Very
you also
nice.
need to take something away from yourself if you do that. And
Yeah, true.
and the cost of that
True.
enhances it. Like with
Yeah.
Killua's ability, it doesn't activate for all of his chains, only for some of them. He can use
Killua.
only against the spiders.
Oh, Kurapika.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Yeah, Kurapika. I got confused.
You
But
know
I was
I
also
like
thinking about Killua and how he's developed just through his torture and family
Yes.
background came from.
And it's
Like,
Kurapika only
it's
has
intimate.
the limitation that only used against these specific people, but also can be some of his abilities work if his eyes turn red,
Mm,
and that is another. It's not the particular drawback, but it's a condition that's met.
Yeah.
like if honestly, I was always thinking maybe Gon would get some sort of fisherman ability just because he's good with the rod, but that never really happened. He got more rock paper scissors.
Mm.
And then, and I like that because there are conditions, there are drawbacks.
Yeah.
Gon at one point became the most powerful fucking cunt in the entire world,
But he gave
and
up
then look what
everything.
happened to him. He lost fucking everything. And then of course that arc happened. But still.
Wish. Specialists are too powerful.
Fuck, what was her name? Killua's sister that was introduced.
Aluka.
late. Aluka, yeah. Her fucking net ability is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I like how there's a lot of known abilities that you willingly choose. Like, I don't know, I want to do this and this and this. But with Alka, it just appeared to her, but it even still had those conditions already
Mm.
there inside it. So even if it's innate, there is still conditions that have to be met.
Yes.
So is that all? Is that all we've got for Nen? Is
I
that
guess.
everything we wanted to
There's
say?
just so much to it, man.
Yeah. Good pals, bro.
Alright.
It's fantastic house.
Then let's move on to my list then.
Let's see how many I recognize. One.
1, 2, 3. Based on the pictures alone. Fuck, I don't know.
You should know the first 5.
Yeah, but like the images.
Well, we're not talking about the first 5. We're doing the first 4.
Talking about the last
I'm not
4.
going to do the backwards as I'm going to go through mine, like row by row, from right to left. And the first one is Saint Seiyaa's Cosmo. So Cosmo, The only way I can explain what Cosmo is I think at the basic root, it's a lot like Key and Nen, where it just is like that basic thing that helps you do some really weird shit.
Really weird shit.
Yeah, that's right. Also, in
Breaking
Saint Seiya, I
Bad.
think there's like 8 different senses to add on to like the already like 5 senses you have. Like one of them I think is death sense or some shit, or like you can see the spirits or something like that.
I see dead people.
Yeah,
Fantastic movie. That's
like
not
there is
funny.
a 6th sense, well, there's 8 of them. But like in Saint Seiya, they all like there are armors. They kind of are linked with either celestial signs, which are most of the bronze saints. You have the silver ones, which I think are connected with more mythological, either events or creatures. I think there's like a Cerberus kind of silver one, and then you have like the 12 golden cloths of the zodiacs as well. I'm just looking at my notes.
Alex, have you seen this anime or not?
No,
Yes.
no idea.
Well, Saint
No
Seiya
idea
is
what this is.
weird.
No, you know my pain. I'm explaining something that none of you have seen.
Like in Saint Seiya, obviously, the reason why I put it down and the reason why I partially like it is because like it's literally the only anime that connects with like Greek mythology at all.
That's fair enough. You know what I was tempted to put down? I was tempted to put down Mist, Percy Jackson, but I decided against it because I prefer the other systems up front.
But like Athena is kind of like what's seen as like the god, and is like in each incarnation of the next generation of saints, there is their leader is Athena, or the Athena's host, or whatever it is, and like there's only like 2 trustworthy golden saints because a lot of them tend to be not nice.
Not nice.
And those 2 are the Sagittarius Saint, which obviously you can usually see like Seiya, where when he like in Jump Force when he uses his ultimate, he gets the bow and arrow and the wings.
Yeah, that's my only. It's my
Yeah.
only anything.
And the other one is
I've
Libra,
seen Seiya.
which again is the other Saint Seiya character, and when he does.
I try not to play against characters or with characters I don't.
But it also, I think it does a good enough job to incorporate like other kinds of like religions and connect with that. Like the Dragon Seiya is probably one of the strongest bronze armors or cloths, sorry. And yet it's just, how do I put it? And yet it's not based off Greek. It's more based off water and like Chinese dragons and stuff. And like even one of the I believe one of the like Virgo is meant to be like a representation of a reincarnated version of like Buddha or something. So like they add other things and it kind of
Virgo.
it's just it's alright.
I'll get you some.
It's pretty good. Next one
I
in
expect it to be good because you put it on your list.
yeah. I just think it's interesting and fascinating, and I don't think it gets enough spotlight on things.
When did Saint Seiya get released?
I don't know. 90s or something?
Is it old as fuck or?
It's a bit old, yeah.
Depends on how old fuck is.
Wow, I sort of say yeah before 2000s.
Yeah.
Well,
Old is before 2000s. Old as fuck is before 90s.
It's the what really? Yeah, what?
And then old as and then I don't know before 80s. Dinosaur.
Okay. Original run 1986 through to 1990.
Yeah.
Manga.
And I thought it was the 80s. But yeah, old as fuck.
And then one of the animes was released 2002.
Yep.
Which was all confusing. I thought it was old as fuck, and then it said 2000. I'm like, what?
2000.
The next one is what is called as Dying Will Flame from Kaikyo Hitman Reborn.
Ooh, I want to know about this.
Have you seen this, Alex?
No, I haven't the slightest clue.
It's another thing.
The next three, I don't know shit about, but I still want to hear about Katsuki.
Each flame has like a different kind of characteristic, and these are of like the sky flames. So like each is a representation of a different aspect of the sky. Like the top one, which is the orange one, that is just the sky itself and is like the head and the leader of these flames. You have the storm flame, the rain flame, the sun flame, lightning flame, mist flame, and cloud flame, which all do different things, and depending on like different characteristics, suit people a little bit better. Like it is like a little bit like chakra, where it is more about like just energy, as well. It's also incredibly rare to use multiple flames, and if you do, it's like damn, you're so good. You think you're cool.
Are there
So-
multiple? Are there multiple?
multiple of each?
Flame?
Yeah, everyone can use flames technically.
Where did they
It's
come
just
from?
not a lot of people do, because it's mainly like the way they use their flames is by having an item usually that kind of instinctively takes the flame out of your body and kind of increases your
Well, how do you
power.
get the flames?
With rings, I said,
With rings, right?
like with the rings. Yeah, you have like different.
How did you get the rings?
Oh no, they're from what we give, and like they're passed down throughout the generations of the mafia family in the series.
So there's a limited number?
There's a limited number, yeah, but you can obviously get more. There's like other classifications as well. Like, it's incredibly rare, but like there are like the earth flames as well, which like sky and shit. Like the earth flame, there's like a swamp one, but that's incredibly rare. Most people just have the sky flames. It's hard to explain the earth flames, and there's other specialist flames that like the heads of things can use, because like they are the heads of each flame, and it's already incredibly rare for them to have a sky flame themselves. You also have like the like little people who are chosen basically by like pacifiers, like adults who get cursed by pacifiers to become infants, who are all representations of like they essentially become embodiments of each of the different flames. And as for an extension as well, technology gets used over time and development happens. So weapons are developed in conjunction with the rings and stuff. So like you could have like the storm flame, which is the red one, and like the storm flame. The storm frame's ability is essentially like destruction, and whatever kind of destroys it kind of disintegrates and crap. And like my favorite character in the series, when he opens like a box, he basically gets a bow to enhance his power, and that kind of level, where it's like boxes can really kind of change the game when it comes to adding to this power system, because it's usually hard just to use the flames on just normal instinct. You need more equipment and more items to kind of handle this abilities. Like, yeah, the lightning flame, I think, like, it creates electrical things, and it's hard, and creates like a hardening effect, and you have other flames that can do things like that. Yeah. hard to explain, especially if you haven't seen it.
That's the case with
Like box weapons are essentially loot boxes. That's what I can compare it to. They're loot boxes. The last one on that bottom row is appetite energy.
Appetite energy.
Are you hungry? You want to know how you can
Yes.
power up? You can just fucking eat food.
So what you're telling me is my ideal power system.
Yeah, I mean the whole the whole basis is essentially it's a lot like K, but a little bit different. It's just more like I say like K. It's not like shooting blasts or some shit like that. Embodying good taste, desire for food, and life force. the energies from what we know in the series is just as old as the universe, it says. And like people have like gourmet cells which can enhance the power system itself as well.
Gourmet
Gourmet
cells.
So
Gourmet
it's
cells.
I think what it's explained as is like it's the ability to kind of hunter prey situation where you want to be the hunter, and the power is released from the body, and you basically power up just by eating shit. You get stronger from eating food because there are so many different food, and like the whole world is just covered with like different food islands and archipelagos and different creatures and hunt rates and a lot of shit. And like and obviously training your body as well, what's very important to the series. And in the picture, like I have like the appetite energy.
Buff.
Yeah. I have like the appetite energy, like spirits, and kind of like what their energy basically manifests as, because they're so powerful, they can actually reach that level. There's not a lot that gets explained in terms of the appetite energy itself. Like a lot of people can do a lot of different things. Like Toriko himself, he can focus his senses into it. Like there's known as 4 heavenly kings, and he's one of them. That all kind of use the different of the 5 senses. And yes, there's 4 of them because they just put taste and touch together. Which, okay, yeah, sure.
That's fair
How
enough.
that works.
Yeah.
But whatever.
So like our main character, like he basically he can transform his like arms and shit. Like it doesn't actually physically transform. It just becomes like as sharp as a knife, and he can slice through shit, or it can become a fork and he can stab shit, and he can do like other crap where he just punches nails into shit. But realistically, he's not actually doing any of that. He's just punching shit with his appetite energy and it's kind of manifesting as that. Or you have my favorite character, who is another one of the Heavenly Kings, who slowly injected himself with poison every single day for like years and years and years, to the point where he can literally just blast poison out of him using his appetite, using his energy and that crap.
That's a bit
I have a
broken.
question. I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're telling me they made taste and touch the same thing,
Yeah.
but not taste and smell. Even though taste and smell is pretty much the exact is pretty much.
Yeah,
the exact
those are very
Those
similar.
are the
Touch and
same
taste
thing.
are not.
They're both chemical senses. That's
The
cool.
whole thing with I think the reason why they put taste and touch together is because of the way it's used.
Right. Okay.
Because like you can't taste anything without touching it,
True, but they're
but you
different
can
receptors.
smell things without touching it.
Wow.
And the other two are like obviously hearing and sight.
The chemical stuff to get through your nose.
Yeah.
So you still have to touch it. It's not like you're not touching it.
That's
If
a
you do-
very.
yeah.
But the nose is
Literally
enhanced
everything.
like
Right,
people.
but the mangaka here clearly did not give a fuck.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. But you know me. I overthink.
Yeah, it annoys me as well, but like,
I overthink a lot.
But these are like just like that's only like part of the
no,
Heavenly Kings.
it's whatever.
Like,
really,
that's
but
incredibly rare
really-
for anyone to do. Like literally, like Kokoro's eyes, because he's the sight one, and he can see ultraviolet light, which is
Wow.
kind of insane. Yeah,
Oh no. Okay.
it doesn't like it's not as like as big and serious as it.
Can you see
Takes
like
as
you know,
Hmm?
can you see like a black light can?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you can. So he doesn't want to go anywhere near your keyboard.
Yeah.
We're moving
Your
up,
fucking keyboard.
but we're going back to the right to talk about Servants of Fate and their magic system. I guess.
Face.
Yeah,
Fate?
Fate.
I don't know if the power system is just called Fate or if it was from Fate.
No, it's from Fate. It's not called Fate.
They're like the servants of Fate. Like, was that it?
I just said servants because it's like there's servants and then there's
I know
magic.
nothing about Fate, so.
Yeah.
So basically, like the magic system is really just like connected with magic circuits. How do I explain magic? Like fate is something that's very large, and I don't want to talk about it for too long because obviously you don't know it, and like it's heavily connected into the whole lore of fate a lot more than it is with what I can explain currently. So like in fate, there are the Holy Grail Wars, right? And the Holy Grail Wars are basically mages are chosen to obtain servants of like basically people that like there's either people through history, there's mythological beings like Hercules is one of them, and other ones like that, and they all get like kind of code names like Saber and like Lancer and Archer, even though like they're actual people and we don't really know their names, but it adds to the mystery of like when you're using them as well. But like the whole magic circuit system is like imagine like the way it's used is like flicking on a light switch. Like it's shown, and like each person kind of has like their own special ability, and usually it's developed from families. There are some very unique ones, like one character's like father prayed a lot to God, so like when he was born, he gained a little bit of like some sort of weird divine energy thing where it's incredibly special and no one else could do that. Like Shiro, like the main character, kind of like enhance different objects and make them stronger. Like we first see him, he's just repairing a bloody I think air conditioner or something with his magic circuits. And what's even more dangerous about him, because he wasn't taught properly how to use it, is he uses the nodes of his actual nervous system and not the nodes of his magic ability. So, like, using the power is already linked with your soul, and if you fuck up, it hurts you a lot. Real bad. But he was actually using his nervous system to kind of process this shit, which is even worse, because that could hurt even more. Yeah, that's all I really want to say. There's a lot of lore heaviness to kind of fate. Now moving on to ones that other people can talk about. In the middle I have FMA.
Oh, that is Full Metal.
Yeah, that's Full Metal.
Perfect.
Alchemy. What can I say? It's alchemy. It's, I think, described as like an ancient mystical science art of it's basically manipulating and altering matter through typical transmutation circles. I think there are so through transmutation there are like 3 distinct rules, or whatever I would call it. Like there's comprehension, understanding the inherent structure and properties on the atomic and molecular makeup of a particular material to be transmuted, including the flow and balance of potential kinetic energy within, which, like for an example, one of a lot of people's favorite character can basically just do a lot of flame attacks because he understands flame so much that he can transmutate a lot of shit into fire.
Yeah.
Or we have the other one, which is deconstruction, using energy to break down a physical structure and identifying materials into more malleable state so that it is easier to reshape into new forms. So basically just like a delete button. That's how I refer to it as. It's the delete button. Because like what Scar has his arm tattooed with an alchemy. Yeah, with his just destruction.
Which is awesome as fuck, by the way.
It is awesome.
I love that he doesn't make the circles, he is the circle.
Yeah. Or you have the last law, which is reconstruction, continuing the flow of energy to reform the material into a new shape. And when you use all 3 of them in conjunction, you get essentially transmutation. Or like an example I want to bring up is clearly is Alex Louise Armstrong. When he punches something with like the magic circle that he wears on his glove or whatever, it becomes a statue of himself. he punches like a rock and it just becomes a statue of himself just by manipulating materials and becoming that. I guess he's in love with himself.
I love Alex Louis Armstrong.
There's also the two laws of the fate world. Oh no, of the of alchemy itself, with the law of conservation mass. Blah 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 blah. Like obviously, matter cannot be destroyed. Nor
The law of conservation
Yeah.
of energy.
yeah, it's that basically. Nothing can be created nor destroyed to a point, and
Only reformed.
yeah, so it has to reform as long as it makes sense. And I think there's also like a secondary law of natural providence, which essentially means like transmutating water, it can't turn into something that has to be like solid. It can become like ice, I guess, but like transmutating it to something solid is a lot harder than transmutating it to like a different form of liquid. Like if you're transmutating water to like another liquid, like I guess oil or whatever, becomes harder or whatever.
So you're more saying changing water into like stone or water into ice?
like if you
So I would
change
imagine
water
putting
into
water
stone,
into ice would be-
you can't do that in full
Yeah,
metal.
yeah.
It's impossible.
But water to ice would have been.
Water to ice is easy. Water
It's
You can
to
reform
You
it,
just,
but you
you just
can't
take away energy.
change
Just take away
exactly
energy, and
what it
that's
is.
yeah, water to oil is kind of allowed. Like transmutating like a stone rock into a spear is alright because it's a solid object.
So I assume they can change one element into another. I assume. Or can
Partially.
they not? Okay. So they can't change. Can they? So could they like? Say if they had like
Like they can usually change air into crap. Or
like say if they had like
spreadsheet.
hydrogen, right? Could they turn that hydrogen into what's after hydrogen? Nitrogen?
Potentially.
I'm gonna assume it's nitrogen. I'm probably wrong, but let's say you had two hydrogen. Could you then turn it into a nitrogen?
Yeah.
Is that with?
Seems I don't remember. To be honest,
Well, it's not like they're creating anything. They're using the world
No, yeah,
that's
they're just
around them.
converting-
It's not like they can just have two hydrogen.
I mean, hydrogen's in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Like I think
Right.
like they can alter like just air itself. Like Mustang just
Yeah.
fucking uses a flame, just snaps its fingers, creating a light charge.
I will say-
I like the
Yeah.
you know when the kids were learning alchemy and then was it Izumi?
Yeah.
The housewife.
It's easy.
That it's really housewife. She's like, alright, first to learning alchemy, I'm gonna throw you in the woods for a few weeks. And then she leaves them there learning fucking nothing. But what they do there is they get to see how nature works. They get to see how the environment works. They see that when something is killed, it's just eaten and put into and turned into energy for something else. Something doesn't turn into nothing. Something is something to someone else. Everything that's there can be something else. You need to understand the way nature works, how it flows. So basically, all they spent their time there was watching the ants hunting food together for their colony, and then they see the anteaters, and the anteaters getting hunted by other animals. And then when those animals die, they become they become nutrients for the ground and the plants around them, which in turn is a circle of life. They then understand that, and that actually helps them learn and understand alchemy way better because that's how the world is. They just
And-
simply
Yeah.
use that nature of the world, the circle of life, as their power. They manipulate that.
And
So
if
they need
you've
to understand
seen
it first.
and if you've seen truth and suffer the consequences of that, you don't need a transmutation circle
Because you truly understand. the
because
way
you
of alchemy.
truly understand alchemy. But still, like,
Which
it
is an
is
interesting
horrible.
concept, but also a bit.
You have to lose so much just to do that because you're
Mhm.
breaking the natural laws of life and death.
And then God has to come down and it's like, you fucking what, mate?
You fucking want cursed, destroy yourself. But of course, like it can be seen as an asset because like they're incredibly strong. But don't forget they fucking fucked up. They destroyed
Small
something.
price to pay for salvation.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Fuck no, it's helium after hydrogen. Fuck.
It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to understand why people love this system and everything.
I will say, because I've only seen like I think 3 episodes. I don't even know. I don't know. I definitely see like, I definitely saw the first 2.
The
So I
first
can't
episode's a
remember
filler
what.
That's not.
of Brotherhood.
Yeah, but who
Regardless.
doesn't? Because that guy is.
It's filler.
Is it? Oh, it might be
It's
filler.
filler.
It doesn't matter. It
Regardless.
does.
It
It's
added
anime
to the
compass.
story, but it is filler.
Huh, for that.
Regardless, I did I did remember as I was watching it, I did quite like how they were handling everything and how the magic system appeared to be, like equivalent exchange, turning one thing into another. And
That's the word.
quite
Exchange.
I
I
want
just
to.
said
Yeah.
transmutation, same.
I mainly use that word because mod, but.
Mhm.
But I always like those concepts. But I think the law of the conservation of it, it's such an interesting concept. Like it's true, but it's such an interesting concept regardless, even if it weren't, because I just think it's such almost a beautiful way of thinking about things. How things aren't destroyed; they just go somewhere else.
Yep.
You can't create anything, but that thing you create has come from somewhere else, and that thing that you created will one day go somewhere else, and one day will become something. Eventually, it might take millions, trillions, billions, but it will eventually become something else.
Yes.
For something else.
So JoJo's. That's all I'm hearing.
JoJo's.
JoJo's! Which has three power systems?
What you mean? What's the one in part 7?
No, I don't mean that one. I mean more vampires. Do you count that as
Oh,
its own power system?
my. I forget they're in JoJo sometimes.
Because vampires don't use any of
It's
the
a
power
vampire.
system that is there. They use the power of the stone mask. Okay, I'll explain Harmon first. I feel like that's a bit easier. And obviously, the reason the picture is Joseph Joestar is because he's the only person who uses both Harmon and Stand.
Harmon's the one I saw, yeah.
Yeah, Harmon's the one you saw.
Harmon, yeah.
Yeah,
The breathing
Harmon
one.
is
The
essentially a
breathing
breathing technique which allows you to expel life energy or whatever it is. And like you can alter the life energy around you or affect different things or how you want to use it, blah blah blah. I don't know, how would you explain Harmon? Because it's very just fight.
That, like
Breathing
that.
shit.
It's a breathing technique.
Breathing shit. That's how, when I watched part 1, that's how I interpret it.
Like when
Breathing
Jonathan is in the water, he can't use Harmon anymore because he can't breathe.
It's can breathe.
Yeah.
Just breathe, lol.
Just breathe. What?
Just fucking breathe.
Like,
Not hard.
it's one of those things that were developed over time, I assume, just from like because vampires exist and it's like the kryptonite
What
to
kind of energy
vampires.
is it? Was it life energy?
Yeah, it's kind of like life energy because like when Jonathan was just kind of releasing his Harmon into like a broken off branch, flowers started to bloom. So I just assume it's life energy kind of thing.
Which would directly counter vampires and shit.
Because it's like,
What?
because I assume the sun also has some sort of life energy, because that's why they're weak against it, or whatever.
Oh yeah. Power of the sun.
Yeah.
Which you can breathe in for some reason.
Yeah.
Do vampires breathe?
No. They're kind of dead.
That way? Oh yeah, because Dio didn't have any lungs in the end of the part 1, right? Because he doesn't fucking breathe. What am I thinking?
And
It's one
then
breath
there
that
are
dies.
stands, which we learn after part 3, are caused by another different object called an arrow. A special arrow that allows a user to kind of have this kind of spirit that is a manifestation of yourself-ish.
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
it
thing.
is yourself.
Yeah,
Because that's how Rocky makes his characters.
Yeah,
he
he-
does it by
he
figuring out what their stand is first.
Yeah, and then he
Then he's like, okay, what kind of person would have the stand?
That's rather smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely character based on and dependent on who you are as a person rather than other shit. And like stands could really come in all shapes and sizes. Like there's one stand that is just like a little fly. Just a fly. There's one
Jeff?
stand that's a gun.
Imagine getting that reference.
I still haven't seen that, but I still.
Me neither.
I still haven't seen that
But we all understand.
What we're referring to.
But like, let's look at part 4.
Also,
Bruce
only
Lee has the
stand
ability to
users
heal
can see
others.
other stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
But-
two stand users are fighting, but then just standing in front of each other, and they start taking damage,
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Well, like the people who don't have stands are looking at this. They can feel the temperature rising. They can't see the flames unless the flames affect the world around them. Like other
Like,
flames that
outdoors.
aren't controlled by the stand itself. Yeah.
I want to talk about the way Iraq makes it. In part 4, our main character Josuke, he has the power to heal others, right? That's it's because he's an incredibly compassionate person, but he doesn't have the power to heal himself because he doesn't care about his own safety. He cares about others, and he's also he's very strong, powerful stand because he's also very aggressive in his compassion. Then there's my favorite character. What's his name? I forgot his name. Okuyasu. Absolute dumb cunt. Right? Has one of the most overpowered stand abilities because he's an idiot. And he just, like, alright, go away. Done. They're gone. Out of existence. Which is fine. It's whatever, the hand. But what I want to talk about is Koichi. Because those two are static characters. They don't really have any character progression. Koichi does. And he, like his haircut, his stand constantly evolves. As the series progresses, as the part 4 progresses, when something new happens, when he has to stand up, when he has to be better, his stand evolves with him as a person, which properly mirrors the fact that your stand is based on who you are and your personality and what you stand for. And because Koichi is a constantly evolving character, so does his stand. It evolves with him. So I appreciate that Araki has a lot of static characters in his series, but he's also got some characters that evolve in a way like Koichi.
Hence what I was talking about last week when I was talking about Johnny Joestar. The reason why I consider him the best one is because also he just like
Koichi,
his stand evolves. Yeah.
Is that the only? Are there any other stands that do that? In what I've read,
No.
I think it's just Tusk and Echoes. Yeah. So I appreciate that in Iraqi's stand design, but also I'm taking a spotlight and I'm not going to.
No, that's fine. I mean, you know this, you know it as well. So like I talked during your guys' one.
Stands are like, once again a static thing. They're what they are, what they do, all stays the same throughout the entire series. So why is it considered one of the best power systems right next to NEM? It's not. It's because of the way their fights are handled. You have to be smart about what you do, how you use your stand's ability in each fight, and what they can do. Understanding what your opponent's stand can do, and then using that hopefully against them. Which is interesting because in part 3 for the majority of it, it's just Jotaro punch good, but somehow he does think his punch is through.
But once we get out of that setting and back and like part 4 is set literally in a small town, it's more focused in of learning how stands can be used just in even normal life and that crap.
Yeah, because part 3 is a journey to save the world. Yeah. Part 4 is a slice of life.
Yep, with this serial killer.
Big man.
It's a good series. Also, it's just a given. If you have a stand, it has to be a reference to some sort of music. Notorious B.I.G.
A little bit of Notorious B.I.G.
It's the Killer Queen.
Also one of the best stands in the series, Bohemian Rhapsody. That was a jolly old time.
Yeah.
Can't wait for Netflix to adapt that one.
Yeah. They have to be musical references, unless it's from part 3, because they're all tarot cards. And gods as well, like there's Anubis. There's also the sun in part.
I got it.
There's a stand that's the sun, which is very confusing.
I got it. My stand will be the fat rat.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, there's a rat with a stand.
2 rats with stands, actually.
There's 2 rats with stands. Like, it doesn't have to be just humans. Animals can also have stand abilities.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Power scaling does not exist in JoJo's.
Yeah.
Jotaro has the most powerful stand in the series, according to most people that know what his stand is, right?
Yeah.
That rat almost beat him.
Which is
that rat almost fucking killed the guy who...
He's got nothing on that rat.
The rat with a
Let's go.
gun.
Let's go. A rat with a gun. A gun.
Yeah, the rat has a gun.
Jesus. Alright, fair enough. Hey.
You want to challenge a
gun
rat?
could not be most powerful stand user in series. Most powerful stand user in series could be
Next time I see a
vampire.
rat, I'll salute it.
Uh,
So I love that the series also can't be power scaled because there are certain stands which just have a greater advantage over others, which is why someone else had to beat the rat for Jotaro because they could. And also, the more powerful your stand is, there are conditions to it.
Also,
the most notable condition is range. Jotaro's
Yeah.
stand has a range of like 2 meters because it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But Koichi's stand is fucking awful, so it has a range of 150 meters.
That's good. That's cool.
So a lot of one of the fights in JoJo's
Like other
was
like
trying
other
to get
stands.
Jotaro to get close enough to the villain.
What Red Hot
And-
Chili Peppers? That's insane one. That's an insane distance. As long as there's as long as there's some sort of an electrical current nearby that it can pass through, I think its range increases.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
I love
So
when
like a
stands have
motorized
personalities.
airplane with a battery, as long as it has some sort of electrical energy that it can pass through, it can continue on. No matter how far the stand user is.
I also love. I want to talk about before we move on. I want to talk about Okuyasu's stand. Once again, dumbest stand. All he does is like, no, go away, and then it's gone, right?
There's one stand that
So
makes
once he
food
deletes, Tony, so once he just erases things, everything that's there, the space gets filled up, right? So once he turns something into nothing, the space needs to fill up because that's just like a void now.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, if he could just jump in the air, delete the space in front of him, and then he gets sucked forward.
That is very smart.
We just.
and
It's
then
the
he kind of
smartest thing he's
partially
done.
flies.
He pretty much lies because he's an idiot. Absolutely, he's my favorite character, so you know he's not smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
My favorite
Absolute
character is
numbskull.
also in part 4, who is a manga artist who gets a stand.
Rohan stand.
And basically what he does is if he I think connects with you, he can open you up and read you like a manga and learn basically essentially anything about you.
That's cool.
It's-
That's
and
cool.
It's
That's cool.
my favorite stand, it's my favorite character, and it's so cool.
That's
So
very
It gets better, kid. He gets his pen out and he can write things.
yeah, he can
in
add things to your
in
own personal
face
self.
manga. So one of the characters needed to go to Italy, and he's like, Rohan, can you make me learn Italian? So he opens his face up and like, knows Italian. Closes it. He knows Italian.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So it's one of the most powerful stands, but in combat it's fucking useless. And
Yeah.
if you can actually get them and open them up, he's won, but he has to do that first.
True.
I love JoJo's. Fuck, I love JoJo's. Gotta read part A. Is that also,
I've got to do something past part 1. You know,
But,
not that I didn't enjoy it. I just.
but you can understand now, like, the joke we made before about unless you're a JoJo's fan
Oh, fair enough.
with the Nen, because a lot of people do love
It's power
JoJo's.
system, unless you're a JoJo's fan.
Alright, moving back to the top right. Alright, Margie. God damn, this is gonna take a little bit to explain. So Margie employs magic, or
It
Margoi is the proper term and what they use. It's everyone has Margoi because like everyone has root, and if you don't have what is called root, I think you're just basically a husk.
Right.
But yeah, Margoi essentially makes up everything, but no one can use any external Margoi unless you're one of the special things we'll talk about later. But so everyone has their own set limit of Margoi. Everyone, like, there are certain limits where like some people have more, just like a normal kind of magic kind of system and everything. And like even magicians can learn from like the table that is presented in front of you of the different ryuk or magic, the different types of classes known as ryuk, which is heat magic, water magic, light magic, lightning magic, wind magic, sound magic, strength magic, and life magic. Those are the kind of core magic system that builds the entire world of Magi. And then you also have what is known as dungeons and djinns. So djinns are kind of like genies in a way that allows a user to get incredibly strong. I mean, really, really strong. Like they don't really need to know Margoi. They just kind of get an enhancement from it, and can kind of do like a takeover kind of situation where like their body gets taken over by the power of the djinn. But you can't hold a djinn. You have to use what is called a metal vessel. So that could be anything like you find special. Like one of the protagonists' metal vessel is like a dagger he's had like his entire life or something, and like he has like a fire
gift
djinn.
from his father.
Yeah, it was a gift from his father. Yeah. Yeah.
No, wait.
Was it?
No, I remember the second one was what was his father's blade because Sinbad knew that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. He didn't.
No.
But the first one was his blade. His head for.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know it's a blade that was special to him, basically.
Yeah. So it needs to be personal to you. It can't just be all right. Rock. You now have a fucking genie inside you. Do my bidding. No, it needs.
Now,
Right.
there are
So
four
what-
beings in the Magi universe who can expel the Margoi of the world around them. And they are what's known as Magi. They are the special people in this world who choose, what is it, divine visionaries? Is that what we call them?
They choose something. I don't know what they call.
They're called, like, either, like kings. Like, yeah, king's candidates, sorry. Yeah. They choose king candidates to basically, at the end of the day, rule the world. And it's kind of dwelled in the whole political system of Magi as well, where it's like, if you have one of these djinn spirits, the people around you can kind and follow you and who support you can gain access to that power as well through the connections between people, and kind of like how you have like a political party kind of thing.
Right.
What else to say? Yeah, it's essentially basically king's candidates kind of are the people chosen by Magi to rule the world. And the reason why Aladdin, who is a Magi, is so special is because there have always been these four Magi, but he's
Three.
now a fifth one. There's
Was it
four.
three?
No, it's
And,
four.
and he's the fourth.
Oh, is it? I thought it was...
I thought. If I'm wrong, you're the fan. I might be wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, why do I think...
But he's the anomaly, regardless.
Yeah, he's the anomaly. Like,
What was who was it? It was the
There's
the one
Yunnan.
with the fucking Yunnan, yeah, that's his name.
who is the person who initially chose Sinbad to be one?
Big man. Was Judah a monkey?
Yeah, he's a Magi. You also have like the Tedious one. I feel like there is a fourth, unless the fourth literally is Aladdin. That's what I was thinking of. Like I was thinking 4 and then Aladdin. Is that what I did?
I don't want to Google spoilers. Spectacular content.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, 3 viewers. Someone's watching.
Yeah, whatever. I forgot what it
Hello,
was.
viewer.
I forgot what it was, but yeah. Anyway. Either way, he's the anomaly.
Aladdin
to
is the
situation.
anomaly Magi.
Yeah.
There's
And
set
his-
down to
and his
Magi in the world, and
candidate is
he's
undercover.
shown up, and everyone's like, "The fuck? What are you doing?"
Yeah. Why do you exist? It's confusing.
Well,
Well,
no,
not really
follow the
confusing.
story
it
about this
confuses me.
anomaly.
Yeah, true. I don't know what else to say. Sinbad, badass. He kind of broke the system a bit. Basically, what happened is he's no longer allowed to enter dungeons because, like, the whole whatever like deity thing that rules over this world that creates these fucking dungeons that pop out of nowhere. Basically said, you have enough. You're not allowed anymore. You're too strong. So anytime he tries to enter a dungeon, it just disappears.
It disappears. It doesn't
Because
say no.
he has
It's
too,
just, it
he already
leaves.
has too many. He just can't. Just leaves.
Was it 7 gens?
Yeah, I think he has 7. That's why he's known
Which
as
is
like the
nice.
7 seat. Yeah, he has
So-
7 gens, so he's not allowed anymore.
And also, Caleb, I think, yeah, when I was watching Mark, I'm like, hang on, this concept sounds vaguely familiar. Ethan, is this where you got the idea for Dungeon Master
That
from?
is right. That is right.
Ah, fair enough.
So I changed it up and mixed a little bit of my own personal shit into that one. But this one's more involved within the political system of the world, and it's just really good. It's definitely one of my favorite power systems. Ah, the next one.
Ah.
Yeah. Finally, one I know a bit more about.
One Piece. One Piece. So One Piece has 2 different power systems. One which is devil fruits, and the other that is haki. Although both interconnect quite well.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider like there are 3 different types of devil fruit categories, where you can be a Zoan, which is essentially an animal. That's basically it. Yeah, you can become an animal, and there's like a 3-stage transformation, unless you're special, and have drugs.
Fucking drugger.
He is a Drogo, isn't he?
Get off the ice.
More like yellow balls.
Are they yellow?
Okay.
See, I love whenever you mention colours.
Right, you never know they were
I've
yellow.
only ever read, I only ever read the manga of them, and you mentioned a colour. I'm like, oh, are they that colour?
What did you think they were?
I red actually. I don't know. I probably red. What else would I think? I don't know what. Like I don't see them as a color. So I don't. What else do you want from me?
Alright, you have Paramecia, which is essentially anything. Just
Well, you put Paramecia last, you get Logia in the zone, and then
Yeah, well,
Paramecia, everything else.
I'll talk about Logia because I want to talk about Logia last. I want to, and Logia is essentially you become the element. You can physically become the element itself. And although at the beginning of the story we do see these Logias as incredibly strong, because it's like you can't bloody hit them. How the hell are you gonna get to them? Then you discover they actually have the most weaknesses. Well, obviously there's the normal weakness of it just being bloody of the ocean, which it doesn't need to be explained. It's just part of the world, you know. Odin can do what he likes.
Talk about the folklore.
Which folklore?
The one, let's say,
The
they're
one
called
where
devil
it's,
fruits because there's a devil inside of it.
yeah, there's a devil inside of it,
And the devil and the ocean hates
sea
devils.
rejects it. Yeah.
So therefore, if you have an eat a devil fruit and you go into the ocean, then the ocean rejects you and it just eats you up.
There's also only one devil fruit. There's only one devil fruit per ability, so there is no double ups ever, and it is impossible to have a double up, except through artificial devil fruits, which aren't actual devil fruits because they're man-made.
They only mimic devil
Yeah.
abilities.
And
Oh.
like, and
You can only ever have one.
yeah, you can
Mostly.
only ever have one devil fruit, and if 2 people try and bite one devil fruit at the same time, only one of you will get the ability, the other one will die.
I assume
And-
it's whoever's like whoever's a nanosecond first.
Yeah, that's
Like,
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ability gets
Oh, he's got a
transferred.
devil fruit.
The ability gets transferred immediately,
And that
like
tastes
after
like
the first
shit.
bite. Yeah, they taste horrible. All you need is
Tastes
one bite. You don't
awful.
need to eat it all. But
Luffy ate it and was like, "This is awful fucking candy."
we still ate it. So yeah,
I want to talk about Ace's how Ace got his devil fruit, which happened in the light novel.
yeah.
He was
Okay,
he
yeah.
had this one fruit, and this other guy was stranded on the beach. But this guy Ace was really nice. This guy, so he was like, "Okay, we both need to eat this fruit because we're starving. But you're so nice. You have the first bite." And he's like, "Okay, thanks." Here you go. I'm on fire.
And that's how
And then
Ace
they
got
start
his
looking
devil
at you.
fruit.
That's fair enough.
On the beach.
It
It
was
was just
like-
on the beach.
What
An
is
incredibly
this?
powerful Logia type just on the beach.
Didn't Buggy try to hide the devil fruit and he put it in his mouth and then he accidentally swallowed it?
Yeah.
No.
Shane
No,
was like,
he
"How you doing?"
pretended
Pats
to
him on the
eat it.
back.
He pretended to eat it, didn't eat it, and then when
Then
Shanks
accidentally
late
ate
at
it.
night accidentally surprised him and he accidentally ate it. and got the bala bala no mi, or the chop chop fruit, so he can dislocate himself into whatever pieces. Basically the ultimate basically swords just don't work. Weapons just don't work against him, I guess, unless they're coated in haki. But even still, even if they're still coated in haki, he can still split himself apart.
Yeah, he can still like split himself before it hits.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you coat it
Which
with.
literally
it's not going to
happened.
hit him.
Which did
It's a
literally
concept
happen.
which Oda does run with later in the series.
Yeah.
Like Buggy.
Because Buggy defended himself against the world's greatest swordsman, whose literal sword is coated in haki basically constantly. And he cut through him and nothing happened. Because Buggy just split apart. Gum, human shield.
He did it. He did it. And didn't the iceberg, the massive ice wave behind,
Yeah.
get cut in half?
Yep. Yeah. There's also other forms of abilities in the world, like Fishman Karate, for one, which is...
I don't know. Would you consider that a power system? I just sort of consider it a fighting style.
It's a kind of fighting style, but
That'd be a power system.
it's also weird how it's used, because it's like... humans can technically use it, but not to the same degree as, obviously, Fishman. And it is a bit more of a fighting technique, but it's more... I consider it a bit weird because of how it controls the ocean. How it kind of like forces the ocean around.
Fair enough.
And like how like some of them like just create like this water bubble and just splash it forward like a giant water pistol bazooka, but
Yeah.
still like it creates like fucking arrows, 1,000 arrows hitting you at once.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's much more of a martial art. And then of course
I
you
feel
have haki itself, which there are 3 forms of haki. Observation haki, which is essentially just kind of like sensory and shit. You can just sense shit. Like sense different things coming at you and whatnot. Or even you can apply that to your own devil fruit, like someone with the Goro no Mi, or which is a lightning devil fruit, can extend the reach of their observation haki to a wider range, of much larger range. And then you have armament haki, which encases your body in a kind of protective layer, which causes much more damage and is super effective against devil fruit users. As well as you can coat other items with haki itself, so like swords, guns,
basically
bullets.
your willpower there.
Yeah, it is willpower. Haki literally means willpower.
So you just will your sword to be
Yeah.
as strong as you.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That's the way the world.
And then
that's
there's
the way the
fuck
world
you, I
goes.
win. Then there's fuck you, I win.
Not necessarily. Then there's
Well,
Conqueror's Haki, which
Yeah, that's fuck you, I
essentially
win.
is...
And fuck you, I win.
Fuck you, I win.
Well, it depends on how it's
Yeah, I
used.
know,
Because
but
obviously if
it's
another person has
pretty
Conquerors,
much.
it's going to be harder to take them out. But Conquerors
Oh.
essentially is...
Aw.
Honestly, I think it's a brilliant thing in terms of One Piece standards. Because in a series where you can just have a lot of just weak, fodder kind of characters that just you don't want to deal with, it's the one thing that's going to be just like, just take him out instantly. We don't need them.
Yeah.
We don't need them.
Every character in One Piece with their strength with their devil fruit, they're like a nuclear weapon. They're an asset for the government.
Mm,
The government can't let Sengoku retire because he's a fucking
he's Buddha.
nuke,
Yeah.
right? You can't have him go out. You need to keep this asset.
It was literally
You
what, the
need to remain
second
as the
mythical...
strongest.
It was the second mythical Zoan type we saw.
Was it?
Yeah, Marcos was first.
Marcus. Okay, so that one was first.
Yeah.
I thought it was one before that. It
No.
wasn't.
Well, one are you thinking of?
Not. I'm trying to think.
We've gotten a lot more now, but like those were the first 2 that we've got for like a long time until we eventually learned more about them and the
So-
other ones.
So every single character is fucking nuke, right? The Buddha can take out every fucking fodder on this series on the other side, right? and then you just have the two big guys left. So what if Conqueror's Haki is just, no, get the fuck out of the way. You're not welcome here. Go to sleep. The adults are talking. So it's actually like massive nuke versus actual massive nuke, and there isn't something that's getting in the way of that, unless your name is Buggy D Clown.
That's right. Also, like, we've really just started to kind of, in the series, learn more about advanced Haki. Which we actually did see. Like, Caleb has seen advanced armament Haki, technically. When Rayleigh, got hit by the elephant, he did, like, this weird blast technique. That's essentially advanced armament Haki, which is what we're learning now.
I do not remember.
So there's Haki that... There are multiple applications of certain Haki. Observation Haki, you can...
Future sight is advanced.
You can look at NL, and he's invested more into like a point based. I'm saying, imagine into seeing everything and knowing everything around him. And there are other characters that can see ahead of time. Even Conquerors, Arm and Haki, you can invest into strengthening yourself and things you touch, or there's just outside your body, and that's much more.
And Conquerors, we had now just touched.
Yeah,
which is
and now we're getting onto Conquerors, so we can't even spoil Caleb because we're only now learning about it.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know yet. But the Haki isn't just one thing that does something. You don't just go, Haki, okay, I'm black now, you can't hit me.
Yeah.
Or observation is, I see you. There's a bit more to it, so there's a bit more nuance to each of these. And the way you can what's the word? Integrate it with your devil fruit. Like the way Enel does, as you said, with his observation.
Which, like, a lot more characters would be a lot stronger if they did that. Buggy would be insane if he did that. But it's Buggy, so... Or even in the last chapter when Usopp was being a fucking god and using conquerors.
Legendary.
I'm not going to explain that.
I want to talk about that right now.
Okay.
I'm not going to explain details, Caleb, but basically a character used Conqueror's Haki, and then Usopp fucking managed to not get knocked down. Like, stepped up and said, that was me, I did that.
Like, they're on two different floors as well of a building. So it's like the floor underneath is where the Conqueror is actually coming from. He's just walking in like a fucking crocodile. And it's just like, that was me. It's like,
that was me, down to me, bitch.
I don't know what to tell you, I must have been him. You know? Must have. I don't know. It must have been him.
But it's so good, and it definitely changes the way like the series works, especially moving forward. And one of the best things as well with One Piece and Haki, just like JoJo's, is the fact that I don't really see the power scaling aspect to it. Like obviously there is some sort of scale, but I see the scaling more to do with bounties and that crap.
But even then, that's more. Bounties are more of something that
because there's more to just power than to having power.
It's an indicator, but
you could have a billion bounty, but it might not mean much.
In One Piece, it probably means something.
It does, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It's more of an arbitrary thing decided by the people who determine the bounties. But I think with One Piece, something that's good is with its devil fruits especially.
Yeah.
The power that you can wield with the devil fruit is based off of whether you're a dumbass or not.
Yep.
So it's whether it's to what degree you can figure out the implications of a particular fruit, and that allows you to become as strong as you are.
Like Luffy getting gears is something.
Yeah. Luffy's
very
gears,
different.
He's not powerful because he has the gears. He's powerful because he figured that out, and he figured out that, well, if I'm rubber, I can do shit like this.
So like, his Gear 2 is essentially doping. Because his body is rubber and his heart and his organs and heart can take a lot more, like, blood flow. He essentially squeezes all his blood vessels to pump faster, and thus he increases himself to move faster or whatever. And even, like, Gear 3, which he fucking just becomes, is the idea of, ballooning or whatever, where you just
inflating yourself.
Yeah, inflating.
But that doesn't make. But it doesn't make the rubber fruit exceeding. It doesn't make it powerful. It is. It's not innately powerful. It's powerful because of what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Just like with a sword, just like with anything, it's not necessarily powerful. Just the user behind it is like, okay, I can.
Yeah, you could do so much. Like that's what I love about One Piece. Like, you could have like a a very small devil fruit. Like when you really consider it, like Bon Clay's devil fruit, it's basically just to take people's faces and use it against them. But that's incredibly powerful in terms of deception techniques. And this is incredibly strong and it's used a lot in One Piece.
And what's interesting is you can always imagine yourself getting a devil fruit, but using it in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I know if I got Buggy's fruit, I would not use it the way Buggy used it. I'd use it completely different. But it's one of those things, and it's something I've mentioned quite a bit when I've talked about my systems, and that's
I've used Buggy's fruit for.
the ability to express yourself.
I know
in
exactly
a fruit.
what you would use Buggy's fruit
I'd
for.
cut myself into smaller pieces.
No. You two wouldn't get off the fucking couch. You just send your hand to go do shit.
Oh,
I'd get my feet and I'd plant them in the middle of my house, and then I'd fly around my entire house.
That's a good idea. And,
Like,
and again, like even with that shit, it's like you could
take an
increase
eye in
that
a hand
range as
and
well.
go upstairs.
Through training, I'm sure you can increase that range Buggy has with his feet as well. And then you also have awakenings, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, true.
So like the first we ever heard about awakenings is in Impel Down, with those like monstrous guards who have awakened Zoans. Like, so we kind of assume that the awakening for Chopper is the one that he drugged himself up for, the monstrous one.
Right.
So that's what I just assume, and same with Brook. I assume like his awakening is like being able to put himself out of his body, which he did at Fishman Island. That's what I think his awakening is.
But you know what? That
Obviously, he
makes
can
it
also
interesting?
possess shit and crap.
It also makes it interesting that the fruits don't necessarily. I feel like there's no such thing as a really overpowered fruit necessarily.
No,
because
any do.
Every fruit can be used in such a intelligent way.
And also,
If you
anyone
know
can
how
know
to
Haki
use
as
it.
well. Anyone can know
Yeah,
Haki.
true.
Anyone can train for Haki.
And I think that's Haki's a good balance for devil fruits, because while devil fruits offer these frankly powerful feats, like you can become fucking smoke, Haki's like, no, you can become smoke, but that's not it. You've still got something that can. There's always another bigger fish. It's not.
Yeah.
People can
Like
go up against you.
When Ace fought against Smoker, he literally said a battle between us is pointless.
Yeah.
Because we can't do anything to each other.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting.
But then
then
Haki
obviously
breaks that stalemate.
Smoker, the way he deals with devil fruits is he hit the tip of his
Oh yeah.
the
true.
tip of his
I
weapon
see.
is encased in sea prism stone. So only the tip, when it hits someone with the devil fruit, it deactivates the devil fruit and makes them weaker. Well, it doesn't deactivate it because you can't
that's quite
deactivate a devil fruit, kind of thing.
Well, it just sort of turns the
It just makes them
manifestation
weaker.
off.
They can still stretch and shit. Yeah. Like Robin can still use her Hana Hana no Mi in the water,
Oh, I fucking love her fruit.
the bloom.
Her fruit's
Of other parts of her
it's
body.
so interesting.
Which one's better, Robin's or Buggy, for just sheer laziness?
I would say
Um,
but I say Buggies because Buggy I feel like you can go. I feel like Buggies would be easier to use, but I feel like Robins would, if you figured out how to use it, you probably could use it to a greater
You
degree.
could probably Which Robin does.
With Buggy you can just take off your eye and get a hand and an eye and fly off somewhere. But with Robin you sort of need to know where you're gonna emerge your hand.
Yeah.
Go into another room, so you sort of need to know. Which, if you live in the house for a while, I suppose.
I think
it's
you
not
also
hard,
need.
but-
I think with Robins, you also need to be able to see where you're going.
Yeah,
Which is
could easily-
in her defense, like she can also sprout eyes on her hands.
Yeah, but you can
and
easily
extend that range.
make a chain.
Yeah.
You could easily do a chain.
Cosplay
with black
is down
arms,
there.
but- Hey, okay. Could Robin, if she had a Sharingan, let's pretend she had a Sharingan, could she make multiple Sharingan? And then, could she use Izanagi multiple times? Mamma mia! Okay, that'd be a bit unfair.
But
That would be very unfair. That would be very unfair.
But the reason, like, I think I love One Piece's system is because it is quite balanced. Anyone can do anything. Like, as we said before, literally Ace found his devil fruit on a beach. And only got it because he said, oh, you eat it first. Luffy's was a different scenario because it was, like, part of a treasure. Like a lot of them just usually get it through treasure and shit. And then you have like the world's strongest man who can literally shake the fucking earth to its core, which is just ridiculous. And like,
imagine being Whitebeard just finds a fruit like, oh,
I even
it's probably going to be like a giraffe or something.
I even talked about this theory before with Alex, like, because like Punk Hazard is half snow, half hot. Basically, we can assume that an awakening event happened between Aokiji and Akainu that awakened their devil fruits in their clash, in their 11-day, 11-night clash against each other.
They awakened it then. I'm sure
Yeah,
they already had awakened
changing the atmosphere entirely to that. That is why I believe, because there is one place in the world, in One Piece, where it's never nighttime, and that is Eni's lobby. I assume someone, or even Borsalino himself, awakened his devil fruit there and created an infinite light source and void.
Oh, so the Lightning Island would be like...
Yeah, the Lightning Island. Someone with the Nell's devil fruit would have awakened. I don't think it would have been a Nell, because it sounds like it's been there for a while. But I don't think it was a Nell. But like someone just changes the environment. Like that's what Logia does. And Paramecia could really be anything. And the more complex you get with like like Zoan types, like once you get like better ones, like or like ancient Zoans or mythical ones, we assume that their awakenings are also quite different from a normal Zoans. Maybe not the ancient ones. We haven't really seen that.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time.
We've spent a lot of time.
One Piece.
It doesn't matter. I love One Piece.
Which is very good, yeah.
Because you can just sit down, talk about a different devil fruit, because like each one is so unique to itself, and you can really do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we should move on to my last one.
Yeah.
Which is also funny because it's the first one on Alex's list. Black Clover. I wrote down some notes for this one. So Black Clover, Black Clover uses grimoires. Well, not every, but alright. So grimoires, basically, you are given a grimoire. Everyone has magic except one disabled boy.
I love that's like canonically what he is.
He's just a disabled boy because he can't have he doesn't have any mana. And like there are so everyone has, I think, something from the core 4 elements of fire, water, earth, and wind, or air, whatever. Those are the core 4, and then there are extensions upon that. And it also adds in recently, well not as recently, but we learned more about how magic develops over time, or even how rare it is to have a dual type magic as well. So someone like Mars in the second arc, like his grimoire was tattered because it was ripped and put together from like his childhood love. So he gained like some of the flame healing abilities from her, but he can also use the diamond that is his main source of magic. Or you could have someone special who's like a half-breed of something and get 2 different magics from that. But grimoires typically are developed and grown through your own personal development and character growth throughout the series, and I think that's why it's just so interesting and fascinating, because it's literally something that you just do because you develop over time. Like one person gains a spell where he can create duplicates of other people because like he's never really considered other people, and once he finally decides like, I need to work with you, I need to trust you, you're good, and like actually opens up to them, he can learn a new spell that helps other people and not just himself. There's also like different aspects as well to the world. So like the Heart Kingdom is like a more tribal, and they can't do some of the magic. Like they can't do spatial magic or wall magic or some weirder magics because they are more in tuned with the earth. They have more natural magics, and that's how they've developed over time. Or the Diamond Kingdom uses diamond enhancements, like magical stones that kind of enhance themselves and their grimoires and whatever. And then you can also enhance yourself through demons as well. And also spirits of the 4 beings, which we've still never seen the earth one. or even
Yeah,
like how you use your magic, because like the only foreigner in this world is Yami, the captain of the Black Bulls. He's the
And
only
you got a
foreigner.
Clover Grimoire anyway.
Yeah, and like you got a Grimoire anyway, and yeah, but still the way he uses his magic is very different because he uses a katana, which is just something so unique because he's Japanese, of
For
course.
that world.
Yeah, for that world, like this is like very magical and shit, and like this is just a man using darkness and a katana, two very weird shits that you wouldn't expect from anyone. Like literally, he's the only person who uses dark magic, and he's our
Yes.
hero.
My man.
You can gain like magic scrolls through temples that add magic things. You can gain more items. There's just so much to this world, and like even just being of like a different race, like you can gain different attributes. Like if you're of the elf race, like you just have a lot more magical ability than anyone else. Or if you're a peasant, you have less magical injury. Or if you're like of royalty status because it's been passed down and you've been developed over that time, it's like you gain a lot more. You have a lot more magic to control. And then you also have Mana Zone, which you can cover yourself with mana anyway. You don't need a Grimoire to do that. And we actually see how powerful that can really become later on in the series.
Really, last chapter was like the best use of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but everyone has like a single attribute. Like no one can really have two unless a special thing happens where you're either a half breed or, like I said before, with the split and ripped apart Grimoire. Anything you want to add, Alex? Because you also put it on your list.
I love the unique grimoires as well. There's that one guy at the start of the series who has a one-page grimoire. He can only use one spell.
Like and even in the Heart Kingdom, I don't really think they have grimoires, do they? Oh.
No, they don't have grimoires now.
They don't have grimoires. No, they transform their magic and what they use into runic symbols, and create a lot stronger and more powerful spells because they're more in tune to the actual environment itself. Gotcha, what a fucking chat.
And then there's also Julius's grimoire.
Oh yeah, which has
So
no cover.
Has no cover. It's just...
That's no cover. God.
Bug tier.
And that is one of the things, like, even if you get a one-page grimoire, which can occur, like, a lot of people are shocked when, like, that happened, and it's like, this is only really one spell? Yeah, he did this much with it? This much damage? And it's just impressive. And I love how, like, the different countries add this uniqueness to the world, where, like, they use magic differently. And I love, because it is more about personal growth and character development, that you really stay invested into kind of what they're doing and how they're using their magic. Like what? Like for like one of the best examples for what's the word? A commoner would definitely be Magnus Swing.
Yes.
Alex? Like him learning runic symbols that he can only do, like what? He has to store up over how much time?
It was 6 months, bro.
Yeah, it was 6 months, wasn't it? Yeah, he has to store mana up to 6 months just to be able to use one runic ability. While his friend just uses multiple. And he doesn't need to store up any. But it's like, you can still be strong even though you're not of a high standard, just because they work harder as well. It's like, oh, they're more impressive. Oh, fuck. Also, Magnus Swing he beat the shit out of you. He beat the ever-loving shit out of one of the strongest characters.
So if you use your magic right, you can absolutely fucking wreck, and that's something he spends months and months trying to perfect. I want to talk about more Magna, what he did in the Magic Knight exams. So Magna is a fire user, right? We've seen a lot of fire users, some really fucking good fire users.
Yeah.
Right? And this kid, he's a commoner, right? He can't do shit. He's got like
a baseball bat and baseballs. Like that's how he uses his flame.
He does not have the absolute just power that Marioliana has.
That's why he has to use quick shots. He uses
so
quick pace
Magna
shots
uses his
with small
abilities to actually, instead of what Marioliana does, which is just sheer fucking unrivaled power, Magna actually has to be smart about how he uses magic, because he only has so much fire that he can expend.
Yeah.
So much so that the actual royalty has to commend him for his use of magic because he has so little of it, and he's fucking wrecking shit. He's absolutely beating them. Doesn't
Mm.
win, but he's still. But the way that he is able to use his magic to keep on par with Luck, his rival. Luck is a character who. Someone is a character. I did it again. Luck has a lot of magic power to him. He doesn't. Of course, he has a lot of technique and actually trains a lot for it, but he is able to expend more magic.
Yeah.
So how is Magnus supposed to keep up with that? He needs to be smarter about it. He's a fucking.
And what
knucklehead,
he
but
did
needs
in
to be
that
smart about it.
chapter, like two
So
months
he turns
ago,
to someone.
fuck.
And then he turns to Zora, who is someone just like him,
A
a
commoner.
commoner with fucking nothing magic, but he.
But
Fuck.
he uses trap magic as well, which is awesome. Like he
But
uses ash
he used
trap
that
magic.
through the runes, I think
Yeah.
they're called. And through that, Magna was able to achieve something
That only he can.
truly fucking spectacular.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mm.
Easily my favorite character in the series after that. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
And I want to say that he's also one of the reasons I love Black Clover. I'm not going to talk about why I like Black Clover. He, to me, has the biggest emotional peaks in the series. Right, perfect. He's the highest emotional peaks in the series. He's got the heart. He knows it's his moments, his defining moments in the series, which really remind me. This is why I love Black Clover.
Yeah.
What he did, what he managed to achieve, is why I fucking love this series. The two biggest moments, of course, the one we've been talking about, when he beat the fucking shit out of him and won, and then there was also his moment with Luck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even just being a commoner, like one of the fascinating things was in like the Magic Knights exam was watching Garja, cause he was versing, like his team was versing like a very strong like lieutenant of a royal family, and like because he uses trap magic and it was very clear at that stage because it was like the second round. The guy fell into it because like he could obviously sense the magic trap, but he couldn't sense was the actual physical trap that they made. Because not everything is about magic, and I think that's what I like about Zora a lot more, is because he puts his nose to the grindstone and he does some really insane shit, even if he's not using his magic. And it's good.
Love it. Love Black Clover, man.
The Clover's magic system is so good.
But just like One Punch Man, we also follow the anomaly. The disabled kid who has no magic.
Yeah. But he has
It's
anti-magic.
Which is already the most overpowered thing in the series.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that with Black Clover. It won't have that Dragon Ball situation of constantly upping your power level, because he's already got the most powerful thing in the series. He just needs to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Like part 3 in Joe, where he.
And then you also have like
So
the
there's no-
techniques of key sense what he learns from Yami and from his country.
Yes, fuck yes, key.
But even still, just because he has something that's really insane doesn't mean he is the strongest. Like I'm sure if like Asta tried to fight Mary Leona, he'd get fucked.
Oh yeah, most certainly. I don't even think Mary Lee would have to use her fire magic to
She
beat
would just
Asta.
do the core in his head, and then he would know it's over.
Just suck the cunt in the face. Can't wait till we get to that topic.
Mm.
Let's get back on topic, power systems.
Yeah.
Now, I see you subtly switched to.
I mean,
mine.
we're both talking about the same shit.
Both
So
talking about the same thing.
yeah.
So
That's
I'll
good.
move on now
Good
to
transition.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
Look, bending. I don't remember how this shit works, but I still really like it a lot. I like the
for lore.
tribes. Oh,
I
yeah.
can talk a little
Take
bit
it on.
on the lore part, which we learn in Korra. Korra kind of shows us the lore, which is my two favorite episodes, because we learn all about the first Avatar. So you know the lion turtles and how they can energy bend?
Mhm.
There are 4 great lion turtles, and they all carried civilizations on their back, while spirits were actually in the world itself, not their own spirit world. So they protected humanity. And when they went out for like hunting for like animals and crap, the lion turtles gave them the element that they could hold within them. So like they gave them water, earth, fire, and wind. And each civilization is very different. So, like, the lion turtle that we meet at the end of Avatar is actually the fire one. And the cycle goes fire, air, water, and earth due to the way Wan went through each of the places and connected with the light spirit of Rava. I know it's all confusing, but, like, yeah. So essentially, once, like, the spirits and he, like, kind of defeated the darkness spirit, which is the opposite of Rava, and he connected through harmonic convergence and became the first avatar. He was able to master all 4 elements by first Rava going through him each time just to keep swapping, and then got to a point where they fused together, creating the avatar. And then once all the spirits went back to the spirit world, humanity could go into the world and thrive. And then you get what we have today through slow transitions from civilization over time. And once an avatar dies, it follows the cycle of how Avatar 1 got and met each of the civilizations. That's just the Avatar lore. And kind of how bending kind of came into existence. Because through energy bending.
Yeah. Now every tribe, there's like several different tribes with all these different benders. There were 4. I've only watched Atlas, so of course there are things in Korra and comics that I may not know, but I want to talk about the power system specifically in Atlas. I'm not too pressed about spoilers. Just clearly, you just went through that.
Well,
so
it's season 2 of Korra. It's in the middle of the season. It's my favorite. It's literally my favorite thing from Korra.
Each of these, there are 4 different types of bending, of course. You are familiar with earth, water, fire, and air.
Yep.
Each of these even have their own subclasses that you can do. Of course. I say of course, but it might not be obvious.
Yeah.
But the ice bending can be done if you're a water bender. You just need to be better at it. Through fire bending...
It's not really ice bending. They can't really change... They can't really
change the ice, but they can still...
It's like how ice... People using ice is kind of weird because it's not really a thing, it's more of a state. They can more just transfer the water into ice. They don't control the ice itself.
Yeah.
But isn't ice still just water?
Yeah. But they don't control the ice like other things you would see in other shit. You know? Like how kind of in Fairy Tail how like Grey uses ice. That's not how it works.
Right.
It's more like it's like imagine having a water whip and at the end changing it to ice, so it's like sharper, and they can whip it at you or something like that.
Right.
And
they can't
as we go
control
through
the
the series,
individual ice particles.
Yeah. They can't control the ice particles now. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, as we go through the series, we see incredibly talented benders. If we look at Arzula, she's a fire bender, but she can manipulate electricity and even has blue flames.
Yep.
Because of course she can. It's fucking fire. Plasma, it's just an evolution of that. It just means she's much more talented.
Also, in the fire class, you can potentially redirect lightning, which is a technique that Iroh learnt after studying water bending, which is interesting because you can even just learn so much being one element and then taking in what the other elements hold and what makes them strong, and you can apply it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll actually talk about that. Yeah, the techniques that each of the benders use, the way they move their bodies, the way it flows. You need to be much more rigid when you're working with rock. You need to flow better when you're working with water and air, and with fire too. So, Iroh, as you said, Iroh learned how to redirect lightning because he studied the way of the water benders. He can't bend water because he's a fire bender, but he's able to take what these people have learned and apply that to his own strength. And that's something that Aang uses as well. Because he has no... Because it's been 100 fucking years since anyone's really fucking seen one. Boomy is like an anomaly. What the fuck?
Boomy's a chat, you know it.
He is. So, he has to go through, as a 12-year-old, to become the Avatar in months, years. Just a very small amount of time. And he has to learn all this. And he's able to mix bending techniques with how to... He learns how to use fire by applying some of these techniques.
Yeah. Also in fire, there are a rare situation where you can get combustion, which you can firebend with your mind.
Combustion, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that's explained. It's just another application of it. With earth bending, you can control the minerals within like metals and crap to do like metal bending. Obviously, sand bending.
Metal bending.
Like even like Toph, she's an earthbender, but she struggles at sand bending because it's not something she's used to due to her environment and where she was raised.
And the way that her bending works.
And lava bending, which we assume is a trait when you crossbreed between fire bending and earth, and it just kind of happens randomly. It's just
I want to talk about the evolutions of them as well. As we spoke about lightning, when it comes to earth bending, only one person, where I'm up to, has mastered metal bending, and they did that by a very unique skill that they have of being blind as fuck. And they're able to feel the earth inside the metal around them, and then they just fucking run with it, and then they become absolute tanks when in the series. Katara learns how to bend blood, which is fucking daunting.
It's not really blood bending. It's not really controlling the blood. It's more controlling the water from any part, and controlling water from inside the human body. So it acts like blood bending because it's like fucking everywhere in your body.
She's able to bend human beings, and it's amazing the way that the series is able to apply some of this.
Even just
some
that
of the ways
episode was like,
must be used, and then they can evolve it. So metal bending, lightning bending, and blood bending.
Even just
bending.
even
I don't know
just
about
like,
earth, not earth. Wind bending. Air.
Yeah.
What are the properties can they do? They can fly. They can just get a glider.
They can fly.
That's fun.
There's a character in Korra who literally gains the ability to fly. Airbenders themselves become really hard to do that, but they can also, I think they have a greater sense of spirituality as well, so they can enter the spirit world. And
Spirit.
I think there's another one, but I forget. They can, I think, alter temperatures a bit. Yeah.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Water
There's not
can
too much
heal.
I can talk with.
Water can heal people as well as they can do spirit bending.
Dihydrogen oxide.
Yeah.
The hydrogen monoxide.
And energy bending is a really weird one, which, from what we know, only the Avatar can do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I want to start talking about Fire Force.
Oh, okay. Go for fire.
I'll go fire. So let's take on everything we know about Atla with the fire bending, and let's just fucking run with it, right? Okubo here is like, fire, that's cool. So he's got these generations. There's first generation people, which are boring people, unless you're Obi. And there's second generation. These people have the
Obi?
ability to control.
What?
Obi.
He's first generation?
First generation is just people.
Oh, you're right. I don't even register first generation. I just think he's just a
first
guy
generation
with an axe.
Second generation are the people that have the ability to control flames. The third generation are people
But
that
they
have
can't.
the
They
ability
can't
to
create their own
manifest them.
flames.
Yeah, people have the third generation of people that can manifest them. Fourth generation are people who, I want to say anomalies again. I like using that word, clearly.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Still
And
not-
they're the ones I want to talk about mostly, because they're fucking phenomenal. Right? Shinra is boring. He can put fire on his feet and he's fucking zooming, right? But there are characters who have very unique abilities. So of course there's one with lightning, because it's fire, and of course that should just make sense. So one of them has lightning abilities. I'm like, okay, so clearly they're not just bending fire. Then there's another
plasma.
one. Yeah, they bend plasma as well. Then there's Arthur, who's not he's a third generation, whose only ability is just putting his flames, his plasma into a blade, because he's a knight. He only does it for his fucking blade. He has a plasma. He's a fucking lightsaber.
I love him. He's great.
Right? So you have a character with just a lightsaber. You have a character, Hinoa, the lieutenant, right? He's a second generation, and
He uses
he's
a
fucking
gun.
shit. Right? He's absolutely fucking awful. He has such little capability, but he can still manipulate fire. So he has this gun which fires projectiles slower than a regular bullet because he's not that good. And the spark behind the bullet that lets you launch the bullet, he's able to manipulate that. So we can have bullets fucking ricochet mid-air to bounce around fucking corners.
Yeah.
And that's fucking amazing. One of the best uses I've seen of fire in that
Or
series.
Maki.
Maki, what's Maki again? Yeah.
Maki
she's
has
got,
like those weird spirit, like witch things. Like she
Maki
has
has
like
the
a flame spirit that
two
she
fucking
applies with
fire
technology.
bullshits. What's their name? Sputter and
I forget.
Spunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not Spunk. And these two fire fucks actually are vaguely sentient. She's able to use them, and she has those pets to use to help fight in fires. I should say, Caleb, Fire Force is about firefighters that fight fire with fire.
That's right.
The fire is living, and they're made of demons. They have to beat them with their own fire techniques.
That's right.
So fireman.
Yes.
Right.
Also, they're in a partially apocalyptic world.
Yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic kind of bullshit. But the reason Fire Force is here is the way Okubo is able to take fire. Just a very simple idea that someone can make or bend fire, and then make a great number of abilities and uses with it. One that can manipulate the trajectory of bullets, one that can control electricity, one that can control fucking radiation.
Mm.
I want to talk about heat. Remember, what's his name? Not Shinra, his brother. It's the most bullshit fucking ability, but he's able to control the heat around him, and he's able to completely eliminate it around him, effectively freezing time, because he removes all the energy from everyone around him.
Mm.
And then he puts it back, and then he plays time again. It's fucking ridiculous how Okubo is like, hey, this guy has fire. He's able to control fire. Let's make him freeze time. Oh, it's freezing. There's someone who uses some fucking trumpet bullshit to invert the heat into fucking freezing. It's ice,
Yeah.
so he actually has ice powers. The fuck? The fuck?
But still, at least that goes through technology.
Yeah.
To alter shit through musical notes. And crap.
And there's Juggernaut with his just fucking artillery. He decides to make his firebending into fucking artillery, into bullets that he just fucking launches at people.
Yeah.
I love the Juggernaut. Fuck. And then there's just Leonard, and then there's fucking Benamaru, who's a second and third, was he?
He's second and
He's
third,
got
yes.
massive-
Which is
Absolute
insane when you think about it.
Beast.
And like, there's also partial hand signs to like help increase like shit like power.
Which is more, I believe that's more a concentration thing.
Yeah, that's more of concentration.
And Shinra is able to exponentially increase his fucking. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Fire Force is here, it is because of how creative
It can be, yeah.
its use of fire.
Especially with the amount of characters we get from it and like what they're able to do, it is very creative.
So many fucking characters.
So where are we
and
going
different
now,
abilities.
Alex?
Paladins. No, not Paladins. One Punch Man. It's an S. What is it? One Punch Man. Now, speaking of anomalies,
Do you like the image?
One Punch Man.
It's
motherfucking-
a plate.
Of course, the story of One Punch Man may not seem like it has a power system, may not seem like it has any cohesiveness, because we follow Saitama. Usually in a series, when you gain strength, there's like a crescendo, there's a limit. The stronger you get, the less stronger you will eventually get, right? There is a peak it gains, but then it just stops. There is a limit to human strength. Saitama fucking exceeded that and is just gaining and stripping exponentially, and that's fucking ridiculous. But he's not the one we're going to talk about. So
No.
Caleb, do you remember the start of One Punch Man?
No.
With
Yeah,
the Crab
maybe.
Man?
The what?
The Crab Man. Crab
the
Latte.
one before he becomes One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah, somewhat. Yes.
So there was a Crab Man who's terrorizing people, and then he bumps into Saitama, and then Saitama's like, I can't be fucked, I just got fired. I don't give a fuck. And he's like, I get you, you're a fucking mood. And then the Crab guy lets him live. But the Crab guy at that point also explains that he loved crabs so much. They were his favorite fucking food. He loved them. So much so, he became so obsessed with crabs, he became a crab man. That's the power system. Your obsession, what you dedicate your life to, what you believe in, what you try to be, is something that that will allow you to change. There's
Just go to
little
Dr.
monsters in
Genus.
this. Dr. Genus.
No, his real name is Dr. Ramen now.
If you look at I'm gonna talk to back spoilers now, but you know Phoenix Man.
Oh,
Right.
yes, him.
So right, okay, let's talk. Caleb, you know Big Bird from Sesame Street?
Yes.
Imagine if the actor who's in Big Bird suit got fired, right? For reasons that were very fair. And then the guy in the Big Bird suit takes the Big Bird suit and he's like, I love Big Bird so fucking much. and he just never takes the suit off. Then he eventually morphs with the suit and becomes Big Bird Man. The power of Big Bird.
I think it's hilarious, even just
That's
looking
the
at one.
entirety of Phoenix
No,
Man.
it's
I
even
love
more
it.
funny when you look at one's webcomics sketches of Phoenix Man.
So many characters in this series are these dedicated individuals, right? The reason tank tops give power to the tank top people is because they believe it does. They're like, these tank tops give us power. And now that's why Tank Top Master is an S-class hero. And that's what most of the monsters in this series are monsters because they are dedicated, they are obsessed with this one thing, and then they are outcast because of it.
And Blast is just
Excuse me.
Blast.
Big Man Blast.
Power still.
And we see this like evolution happening with Garrow. He wants to become the strongest monster, so we see him become that, pushing all of his limits every single fucking time.
Unless he fights Saitama.
Unless he fights Saitama.
Which I still find any time that they've faced each other, it's just been hilarious.
It's absolutely fucking hilarious.
I don't feel like we could talk much about the power system of One Punch Man.
Because we mostly focus on the one guy who just breaks the system.
Yeah, that's right.
But there is one, and I quite enjoy that it's about your obsession, your dedication, what you commit yourself to be. Right, that is what you are. Saitama wanted to be a very strong hero. He fucking succeeded. That's the One Punch Man. I quite enjoy it.
Did he though?
Yes.
Did he though?
Oh no, he's just hanging out with a monster.
He commits himself to helping people, to be a person of the people, and that's what he is. He helps the best he can, and that's just incredibly fucking admirable to me. Bloodblockade Battlefront.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk much about this one.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about on account of the fact that no one knows fucking shit about how the power system works, because only the person who writes it does.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't think it's cool as fuck. Bloodblockade Battlefront takes place in New York, but New York takes place in the fucking demon city unwillingly. So basically, these amalgamations of creatures like demons flood into New York, and New York kind of floods back, and it's just like a weird new city.
Yeah.
New York City, and then they kind of put a dome around it to stop the spread. So now there's this new bustling life inside New York. And Bloodblockade Battlefront might have the best world building I've ever seen after One Piece. The way it's able to characterize its world is fucking amazing, because now it's got all these different circumstances and things and people and such unique fucking everything. And there are also these sorcerers, these people that use blood art, right?
Yes.
I don't know how the fuck they do that or why they do that, but they do. And they use their blood to use powers. Klaus uses a blood art with his cross, and he's able to absolutely fucking wreck with it.
Yep.
He's got the 100 arts, and he can only use specific ones, and he uses his cross to enlarge, and just fuck. I want to talk about Steven more, because Steven uses blood to freeze. He lets a small amount of his blood, if he sharpens that and he puts it into other people, he can freeze them in a moment's notice, which he does. I don't know how the fuck Chain does what she does, but she can disassemble herself so fucking minuscule she can sneak into any fucking anything. There are a lot of people that can do that, but no one can do it like Chain can. Just disassemble herself so much that she's impossible to detect with anything.
And then you have like someone like Zed O'Brien who has like a weird
Zed
type thing.
Love Zed and Zap and them.
I love them. They're probably my two favorites after Big Man.
Yeah. And then there are these beings that are above them that just hold all this power that they can't do shit about, which is where Leo gets his power. He has the eyes of fucking God. He can see everything, including Chain, so touch it.
Yeah.
And it's the way this series explains nothing. It doesn't say, this is why Klaus does his thing, this is why Chain can do this is why Steve can do this is why this God gave Leo eyeballs. There is no need to explain, because it all makes sense in that world. The way the world works to create an atmosphere, the way that it's able to convince me that this is an actually real place, because every single one of the people feels real. Every single location makes sense because the author is able to say, this is how a world should be. It's the best world building I've ever fucking seen. Past One Piece. One Piece is better. But second, it's not a close second, but it's definitely second place.
One Piece, just everything falls just into pit. Just falls
Yeah,
right.
let's not. we're not talking more about One Piece.
Alright.
So that's power system is there because it's able to truly convince me that it belongs there.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, love the power system and call it good. It's harder to understand than a lot
What
of
the
other
fuck
ones.
is it?
Yeah.
The fuck did what do you mean? Where is it coming from?
Yeah.
The fuck? What's happening?
Yeah.
We don't know. This one's gonna be fun. Because next up is fucking Paladins. The Paladins card deck system. I've added this because I think it's fucking perfection.
I said this to Caleb. I don't consider the card system a power system.
I do.
The reason why I don't consider it a power system is because it merely just changes how the power system is actually used rather than actually being the power system itself. So
The talents and the
take
cards and
Zora
the
with
items.
a sword. Zora using a sword is essentially the same thing as this card. Because it's a different
but we give him
application of
cards to
how
give him
the
different-
swords can be used.
I do disagree. I can understand where it comes from, but I disagree. Simply because the cards can, in some cases, actually give you power that normally isn't. Like it can give the characters new things, and just because it might modify something or a pre-existing thing doesn't necessarily mean it's not a power. Yeah, yeah. Continue, Alex. Continue. It's your
The reason I put Paladins here, even though it's not even though I'm not using the inbuilt lore power system, is because I love the way the card system can help balance the game and help out and create innumerable amount of play styles and ways you can play every single character, every talent, every item you buy, every card you put points into, the point allocation in the card system. I absolutely love it. And it's the reason I keep coming back to Paladins, because that's the one thing they don't change. It's the one thing that I'm able to say, yeah, this is why Paladins is unique, because it's able to create a playstyle for you if you so choose it.
I mean, they have changed the cards themselves before.
They've modified the cards and they've
But
modified.
the card system stays
Well, yeah,
the
every
same.
card
How
can
you
change,
get the
yeah, but the
card.
system is.
But the idea behind there are cards that can change or playstyle that has not changed. And I don't think it will ever
And
change.
that's-
If they do change it, then I will stop playing.
I mean, we stopped playing for numerous reasons.
I know, but then it's not Paladins anymore, in my opinion. If they
Yeah.
change,
It's why it's here.
What I'm hearing is that they're gonna change it.
yeah, probably. They'll find glitch. Or they'll say, it's too glitchy. We gotta get rid of it.
It's too
They
hard.
gotta know that if they get rid of it, they'll lose everyone.
Yeah. Because even when I go play something like Overwatch, I'll be playing a character and I'll get annoyed about a certain ability or whatever. And I'm thinking, can I change that? And I realize, no, I can't. And the thing with the Overwatch is because it doesn't have that system, you have to. A character is just gonna always be that. They're always gonna be like that. So if you don't like the character, it's essentially like tough. But with Paladins, it doesn't stop at when you first play the character. You can change the decks around, and you can continuously change it until eventually you find the perfect deck for yourself. And then there's talents, which I count as the legendary card system as well.
Legendary cards.
Yeah,
Mm.
because and they increase they change your abilities even further. They change.
They will severely
way.
change how play style is. If we ignore the card system, there are 50 champions in Paladins, and each of them have 3 legendary cards. There are 150 unique characters to play by default with that, and then there are the card system, which creates
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of possibilities.
Which you can play a character the
That
way
you can
you
play.
like it.
Of course, there's the
Depending on
meta and the
people.
way people prefer to play, because everyone's like, "Oh, this card's the best," and they take other people's card decks, which I think is severely uncreative.
I don't like taking card decks.
I don't like taking them.
I
don't ever.
take card decks, but I
glad
try
they
them.
changed.
I try them, but usually I end up modifying it to
Yeah,
my
true.
adjusting
course.
to me.
So the
That's what I do.
default decks they have for each of the legendary cards, use that for a bit, and then you're like, okay, I get how these character and this talent works. I want to fix and change it to the way I want it to be.
Mm.
I'm starting to play a lot more Zin, and I know exactly what cards I need in my deck, but there are some that can be subject to change, and I'm constantly changing. I've recently increased my movement speed whenever I fucking get a kill, and that's fucking pogging. Fantastic. I always choose the same items with them too, which is probably not a good idea. But
I
But
mean,
then,
every
but then there is the
item
item.
these days have, I feel like, just changed in game. Because, like, everyone just gets cauterized straight away.
so I don't
I
heal
don't.
into my service much anymore.
Whenever I play a flank, I immediately get killed to heal.
Well,
Yeah, well,
my two,
you don't
Immediately.
exactly. Well, if you're flank, yeah, but like for a lot of situations, most people just get like cauterized straight away.
when I play
Nah,
Zin, I can
because
there are 450 credits. I buy Cauterize one, heal one immediately every time. I don't care. If I fucking go into combat with someone, I don't want them healing. And I want to
true.
heal when I'm done with them, so I immediately
Yeah,
get those.
exactly. Like with kill to heal, it's like as a flank, I don't have much health, so when I finish up a fight, I can another fight because I got 100 health back. And if
And
I
then
so need
you've
to,
got 9 lives. You just redo it.
which I try not to do because I don't want to waste that. It's better to use that in the middle of a fight than at the end of a fight. But still, I think for flanks, kill to heal is the best. But
Yeah, I don't like
this
as a
isn't a
flank.
meta discussion. It's a discussion on the system as a whole and how it's yeah. But
As a flank, I don't like healing in game, in battle. When I play Buck, aside from the fact that I can use a full life rate deck, if you use the healing ability mid combat, you're going to fucking lose. You will take more damage than you can possibly heal for.
mm,
With Maeve, it's a much more instant thing, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
yeah,
But
I mean you can kill the healers, mate. Not kill the
you
heal.
get killed to heal, you're done, you've healed, and you're good. Lex, you choose the right cards as Lex, you're back to full health immediately. It's a shame I'm just fucking shit at Lex. But
Oh
that's
no.
as much as I think we can talk about the Paladin's card
Yeah.
system. The reason it's on this list is because the way it is able to change the way you can play a certain character, and it is balanced in a certain way, and it gives the players their own play style within every single character.
Admittedly, it's somewhat of a stretch, but you know,
Yeah, it's a stretch, yeah.
what else are we going to talk about?
But the reason I put Black Clover on this list is because I couldn't think of a ninth one.
Bleach.
Well, I don't want to. I want to finish Bleach. Even then, Bleach confuses me.
That's literally what Caleb said to me before.
Yeah, exactly. He said that earlier. Like, I get that Kubo knows what he's doing. I understand that there is logic in everything he
The
does.
fuck
I
is
see that it
happening?
all works. I know that when I read it, I'm like, okay, he's playing this out. I don't remember when, but he did it. I know he did.
Mm.
Right, he's not Marshima.
No.
Marshmallow was he's a bit of a fakey fake. Alright, well up to the top list. Yay!
You're a hetero, yeah.
You mentioned
Yeah,
it a bit
this one.
last time.
This character that you see right here, he's the mushroom man. He's the one that turns people into mushrooms. And I love it. But that's not who we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the power system. And this will be big spoilers.
Mushroom power system?
Long ago, no, the magic power system. Long ago, there was a dude named Chitteruma. He was the devil. And he's like, I'm fucking bored. I want to make people. And he's like, and then so he makes people. He makes these sorcerers, and all these people can produce black smoke. And each of these people have a certain amount of magic to them and certain attributes to them. And he likes seeing them fuck around. He also finds another dimension of humans. No, shut up. And then so do the sorcerers. So the sorcerers are like, ooh,
They
people.
wanted to fuck around
They go
too.
fucking. So these sorcerers now abuse all these people to try and test all their magic. All their magic can do any number of things. One person turns someone into meat pies. That's
yummy.
an actual magic that occurs in this fucking series. Meat pies. Later on in the series,
What
we
does
learn that
turkey
magic
do?
is actually makes. Turkey's magic is he can make a meal. He can cook a meal in an oven. But if you think really hard about a person, that meal will turn into that person. And then you have to give that person clothes, and then you follow that person. That fake person will instinctively walk towards the regular person, like a you know the paper Viva cards in
Yeah.
One Piece. It's just walking Viva cards, and you just kind of follow him. follow this fake person who's made of meat pie or turkey or whatever you cook it out of.
Do you mean you still eat this person?
You can eat this person when you're done with them.
And then they'll taste like what you tried to make.
Yes.
Okay.
That's you wanted to know how Toby's fucking magic works.
Look, I don't remember much from when I watched the little bit of it.
Yep.
Is
So
it
some of them
actually
have these
called
weird
magic?
conditions.
Is it actually called magic?
Yeah. Black smoke. Magic is black smoke and they're sorcerers.
Okay. Alright. I've been trying to forget so I can be a little bit fresher when I read the manga.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I won't allow that. So every magic is based upon a person's, like almost every power system has this because why not? But every single person's magic is based around the person themselves. We see this later on when a character gets granted magic. I won't explain how, but he basically becomes God mode. I can't wait for you to see that. But in that instance, we learn that magic is based around who the person is. So I love it that this mob boss just turns people into mushrooms anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I want to talk about it, but you want to start reading it. Damn it.
You know I don't give a shit about spoilers.
Epic. You sure?
Yeah.
Perfect. So
What if
Kaiman
I
gets
want
to...
to read it?
You
That's
don't
not
give
happening.
a fuck. Kaiman, by some miracle, gets magic, right? And this character loves gyoza. He fucking loves gyoza, man.
Gyoza's
He
good.
loves eating it.
Not the best.
He loves it. It's his favorite thing in the world.
Yummy.
So his magic is gyoza. He gets the gyoza and he talks to him like, "Hello, I am your gyoza fairy." And he's like, "The fuck?"
Can
And
my
he's like, "What
magic
would
be
you like to
sandwich?
do if you want?" And he's like, "I want to beat that guy." It's like, "How?" It's like, "I'm gonna just want to fucking do an attack." So this gyoza fairy is like, "Granted, we're going to use the heat it takes to cook up gyoza, and we're gonna burn that fucking thing." The fuck? He wants to fly. He gets wings made of gyoza. He gets the most powerful sorcery because he likes gyoza so much that he considers it God. So his magic is a gyoza god that will do what it likes for him. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's why I put this on here. Because that's funny as fuck to me. That's his magic.
We're gonna struggle with this next one.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Alright, I wrote notes.
Did you just write that little bit spiel?
Yes.
Okay.
Cursed energy and cursed techniques. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, only very few people have the ability of manipulating cursed energy. Cursed energy is something that's inside all of these Jujutsu sorcerers. It's like chakra, right? Imagine it like electricity. And then there's Jujutsu or cursed techniques, which is the way you apply it. You can imagine them like appliances if you consider cursed energy like electricity. Unfortunately, techniques, you can't just make them up. Cursed techniques are fundamentally etched into your body from the day you're born. That's exactly what I wrote here on this notepad. Alright, that's enough of that. That's enough of my notes. Now, what am I going to talk about here?
Toto.
Each of these...
Boogie Woogie.
Uh,
Boogie Woogie.
I'm going to get to him in a
Alright.
moment. So, the way cursed techniques... they work similar to Nen, in my mind. The way that there are conditions that need to be met. One of my favorite characters, Nanami, has this blade, right? And this blade, it's like rolling a 20, right? If you hit a very specific area, 7 to 3. If you hit the 7 to 3 ratio on a specific part of the body, you hit right there, he gets a fucking crit hit. He hits it with the back of his blade. Only if he hits that area. That's the way his curse technique works. But also, he's a businessman. If he works past overtime, if it's past 6 p.m., he gets even more curse energy. So he has a time-based technique as well. If you
It's
you
also
make him work
about
overtime,
there was
he
also
will
the whole
fucking work.
domain situation as well.
Oh yeah, and I don't know how much to talk about domains.
Domains are more prevalent, I think, in the actual demons itself. But Gojo did shit.
Oh yeah, so domain. Imagine domain expansions as Bankai is the way that you have this cursed energy that does a specific thing, and you can impose that energy onto your surroundings, and you can bring that in your other people into that, and now suddenly they're in your territory. You suddenly impose your cursed energy over them,
Mm.
So a cursed spirit with a volcano jutsu.
Yep.
It poses his energy onto Gojo, and he's like, "You're in my volcano now," and then Gojo's like, "Anyway."
You also don't really
So
need like there are people and characters who don't even really have cursed energy, or they do kind of, but like the way
yeah, there
they
are cursed
can't.
items.
Yeah, they use cursed items to fight.
You apply cursed energy into an item, and then
Mm.
that is able to curse. Those the it's a very similar to Bleach. The curses are just like hollows.
Yeah.
So you need these items to beat hollows.
Yeah.
Because one character
Or,
doesn't have the ability to see them.
or you could just
I have
literally be
a conjure of
cursed like
energy.
our main character.
If you want, you can eat a cursed spirit. In which case, or you will get the power of the cursed spirit, and their very techniques will be etched
I
into your
mean,
own body.
you don't really have to eat them.
What do you have to do?
I mean, Yuta did Yuta eat his cursed spirit?
Oh no, yeah, he just had a lot of energy, and he was like,
Yeah, he
"Don't
just-
die," and he's like, "Okay," and then
Yeah,
he got
he
cursed.
just kind of got haunted.
There are also different clans in the series. There's the Inumaki
Zenin,
clan,
which is I think
Gojo clan, the
Yeah.
Zenin clan.
Zenin's the one we know the most about, and the most is the
Knew the
prevalent.
most about.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's still.
And
them.
what was the other one? There was one more with the guy, with the archery guy from the other school. But those are the four main families I can think of at the moment. Each of these have their own
Yoshinobu?
different curse techniques. I don't remember.
I don't know.
But the Inumaki clan has like cursed speech. The Gojo clan has like infinite void. The fuck. And then the Zenin clan, I don't remember what their specialty is.
Noritoshi, is that the one?
Noritoshi, yeah, that's
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Noritoshi family.
Remember.
So also in this world, there are a bunch of different families with all these different curse techniques because each of your curse techniques are etched into your body the day you're born. So it's a very case-to-case thing. You can't. It's not like Nen where you can just decide what kind of thing you want to be, what kind of technique you want to have. But the way you go, but it still has just as much fucking dialogue every fucking chapter when it decides to explain it anyway.
This last chapter was very weird. This last chapter took
was awesome.
I don't agree. I thought it was really good, but it was so different.
It was awesome. I loved it. But yeah, that's as much as I can really talk about that.
It's harder
Because I also
that
don't
one.
know.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I don't
The final one.
know.
Final
Excuse me.
power.
Penises are infinite. Think about it. No matter your age, your occupation, your status, your emotions, your feelings, anything that happens in your life, simply saying penis has never failed to bring a smile to our faces. Penises have the magic of smiles. Penises can stop wars. What else transcends race, religion, gender, and inequality and make people laugh together more than penises? That is a quote from Chernozom, the scholar of penises.
You know, I can't argue with that.
You can't argue with it.
The penis, the power of the penis is a miracle that came to life when intense thoughts about penises were given human form. There's one of them. You see on screen.
Lustre.
To unlock this power, you must go into the penis world, which is like an astral plane of
The what?
penises, where you'll find a great deal of human manifestations of penises, similar to stands. That's one of the characters' stands, pretty much. And the way you unlock this power is you go to...
Basically, your penis becomes a person.
Yes, it becomes a stand. You go to Penistopia, a sacred temple, to learn about your penis, and you must be connected soul to soul with your penis stand. With your human penis to feel an overwhelming amount of energy, and this energy can be used for certain things. Your penis can have up to 8 attributes: wind, fire, darkness, light, water, earth, holy, or evil.
And you wonder
most
why the
important
series
thing-
ended 5 chapters later.
2 chapters later.
Sorry.
The most important thing within the penis world is to know the attribute of your penis. The penis you see there has the wind attribute. And then there's my favorite. And then there's my favorite character, Absolute Chad, Baba Zaragi, who is the Omni attribute, which is the power to control all penises. He saves the fucking world using his
So this is
omnipotent
your favorite
penis
power
power.
system.
Yes.
Very understandable. I'm in no way surprised.
I literally, while you're talking about like series I didn't know, I went and read those chapters and wrote all these notes. I just studied the penis power system to
Is
tell
that
you
why
how
you
to
were so
do it.
quiet?
Yeah. You have a fucking chart of fucking powers of the fucking everything. Like what count as what's strong against what. They fucking did that. And it was a gag that lasted 2 chapters. The fuck?
Like when they got their notice for like you have 3 chapters left, they just really went like, let's just do this.
Let's go with penis power. So every one of the main characters has this penis power, and each of them has a specific attribute, and they use it to save the world. Of course, they don't have enough power, so my favorite character with the Omni attribute decides to sacrifice himself. I love this. I love it so much.
You heard it here. He loves
He loves
penises.
penises.
I do.
Wonderful.
Just remind he went to Penistopia to go to a
I
to the
think
sacred temple to connect soul to soul with your penis.
What?
there's just so much penis at the end of this video.
Think about it. No matter what your age or your occupation, your way of life, or your circumstances, simply saying penis is able to bring a smile to their faces.
Penis.
To our faces.
What if
Penises
you're
have
on
the
an
magic of
island full of
smiles.
women that haven't heard of a penis before?
Penises can stop wars. What else transcends race, religion, gender, and inequality and make people laugh together more than penises? Thank you very much, Chanism. That is it. That's my favorite power system.
Yeah.
I didn't rank the rest of them, but this one's number one.
Makes sense.
Also,
Nah,
talk
it
about
doesn't.
penises. It doesn't make any sense at all. This is a comedy
But it
series,
doesn't need to.
No,
Yeah.
of course it doesn't.
You get a few power systems that don't make a lot of sense.
No, it makes
Or
sense to
either
go with
aren't
this
as
powers.
explained as much as they should be.
This one's explained too. Frankly, the amount of information they had about penis power in those 2 chapters was stupid for a comedy series. Meanwhile, a much more serious series like Olympic Battlefront has nothing.
True.
But once again, like if you, I never talked about Jujutsu Kaisen. The reason I liked it so much,
Todo.
the one condition. Oh yeah, well, the condition being if you explain your curse technique to your enemy that you're currently using a curse technique against, that will add more power behind the curse technique. Of course, it will give you the disadvantage of them knowing how it works, but they'll also be afflicted by the fact that it's also way stronger now that you've explained it.
Right.
So, it's a way to say I'm going to make my ability stronger while also telling the audience what exactly I'm doing to you. So, in a way, in that series, once you explain the way your magic works and magic jujutsu works, and your audience now understands that, the playing field has now changed. You're now stronger, but now the enemy knows. And of course, that's conditioned for explaining how your jujutsu works. And not every character does it.
Right.
Some characters don't need to. They're just powerful enough as it is. For example,
Gotcha.
Sukuna. What the fuck does Sukuna do? The fuck?
He has 8 arms.
4 arms with 20 fingers. The fuck does he do? I don't understand. And we don't need to because we've not been told. And he's not going to tell us because he doesn't need to. He's that strong.
Yeah.
And Gojo only explained it because he was teaching his students.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do shit.
Why would he need to do shit?
So I appreciate there is an in-universe way to explain why people say their powers, and also when they do, it creates conditions and consequences for even if they do that in the first place.
Tuna fish.
Tuna mayo. That's why I put Jujutsu Kaisen in there.
Only
Can't
gear.
understand shit about it. Rice balls.
Seaweed.
Salmon roe.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
That's the end.
that is it. That was all of our favorite power systems. We're talking about how the way these systems work inside the worlds that we love, and we're talking about them with each other, and hopefully learning a bit about this series along the way. What did you learn, Caleb? That's the end of the episode. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.